right, and I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro. Let's go, let's go. Yeah. Let's go. If I go, I'ma get. When I flow, I'ma hit. And I know I'm the kid. I'm a soul, don't forget. I'ma blow up winning. Got my flow so fitted. Here we go, just beginning. Yeah, I throw every inning. Got my flow so legit. All I know is my shit. Here I go, they come with. Post Malone in this bitch. Rock star making hits. Got guitar in this shit. Leaving scars cause we lit. All these bars that I spit. Yeah. Let's go, let's go. Let's go. If I know what I want, then I know what I get. If I go, they come with, cause they know I get lit. I'm a pro, not a myth, and my flow got some wit. Never slow, drink a fit. I get hype, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. I get hype for this shit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. Here I go, I get lit. I get hype for this shit. Right.
A perfect intro. What's going on, everybody? It's the Knucklehead Comics. It's Tuesday. You know what that is? We got a special guest in the building. The writer and creator of Neotheric and 6 and 8, Michael. What's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up, fellas? I'm all right. How you guys doing?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Yo, as always, we got to my left, your right. We got Lay. What's going on, Lay?
That's chilling, man. Just glad to be here and happy about to do this.
I hear that. And
I'm hearing your echo.
always on the bottom, we got Cabs in the building. What's going on, Cabs?
I'm hearing the stream.
You're hearing the stream?
Yeah.
Whose stream?
Yours. I'm hearing yours.
Yeah, I can hear it.
You can hear now. Can you hear it still?
Nope. We're good now.
All right. There you go. Now, all right. There you go.
And now, what's up, everybody?
That's what happens when you go live.
Cabs in the building. Tion eating a late dinner because work was a little crazy today. Green juice in the building.
There you go. But yo, as always, show is running late. He might be here earlier than he's usually is when he's running late. And Cap couldn't make it today, so he should be in the comics if y'all want to talk about Cap. But Mike, what's going on, man? The first question I got for you is how much?
Before that,
Go ahead.
We're not even going to warm up to anything.
Before that,
raw. We're ripping the Band-Aid off.
I'm actually very excited. Before the questions, you know, tell us a little bit about what you're doing. You know what you've been doing, the comic itself. You know how you got there.
That was the question.
You don't got to go too much. Oh, I thought you were gonna just go straight into questions.
In chapter 6, volume 2.
Yeah.
No. I was gonna get into that part. But go ahead, Mike.
All right. So I'll just basically give it a quick and dirty version.
Sure.
I grew up reading comics, and for whatever reason, I had the crazy idea that I could write comics too.
Awesome.
So I've been trying to write, trying to get into the business, even since I was like 11 years old. I think that was like the first time that I sent a thing to Marvel
Wow.
when I was 11, and then I kept trying throughout high school and just after high school, sent a bunch of stuff to Dark Horse, but nothing ever came of it. And I kind of got out of comics and I got more into like film and video kind of stuff, writing screenplays and things like that. And so I just basically forgot all about comics for maybe like 10, 15 years. And I was living in China, and I had found out about the like Kickstarter, Comixology, all this, the internet explosion where, it's much easier now to make a comic, produce a comic, and get it out there
Sure.
because you have all these online things where you can reach everybody all over the world now. So I thought about it, and I was like, well, maybe I'll try one more time, see if I can make it this time. And that was like in 2013, I believe. And so I started writing stuff, and the first book that I did was this book. This is the horror comic, 6/8,
Okay.
and so that's the
Sick
first one.
art.
Yeah, it's really good. The artist is Alan Burns, but so I did that one, and it was just going to be a one shot. It was just like a simple idea. I figured I'd just do one and see how it goes, and I put it up on Comixology. But the idea was always to eventually have print versions of them, because I'm an old school guy. I like stuff you can touch and feel and lick and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So 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 I did that one. Then I kept going with it. Neotheric was like the next one that I put together, and that was so far it's been 4 issues, and I originally just put them all on Comixology and a couple of other different websites, and then like 2 years ago I just took my own money, like tax return money, and just printed that out as a graphic novel. So that's this one. That's the graphic novel, 96 pages. Um,
Sick.
then and so I got tons and tons of ideas and story ideas, character ideas, all this kind of stuff. So I want to just keep building on it and keep going with it. And so that's basically what I'm doing now. After I did Neotheric, I did this one. This is an anthology. It's basically like superhero kind of anthologies, book of legend.
Oh snap! Look, put that up to the camera again. That looks sick.
Oh yeah, it does. Wow.
Man, that looks sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That cover is by, I forgot what his first name is. Arosa. That's it. That's his name. He's the first name on there. I'm killing myself because I can't remember his first name. But yeah, this is an awesome cover. He's an awesome artist. So last year I did Kickstarters to print 6/8 and then Book of Legend. I did those 2 Kickstarters, and I just barely got enough money to do like a small print run. So it's only like $600-700. But the idea is to try to build a foundation and try to slowly make more people aware of what I'm doing, so I can do bigger projects. And that's what this one I'm going to be doing now is. It's called Gun Engine Zero, and this is going to be like a 6 or maybe 7 issue miniseries. And the first issue I want to launch maybe in March or April sometime. So
what's that going to be about? Sounds like mechs.
Yeah, this is this is a little preview ash can that I gave to people last year when they for in the Kickstarters I did last year. It's a little but yeah, so it's definitely I grew up with like Japanese sci-fi superheroes, all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Like Mazinger, Ultraman.
Yeah, that's the vibes I was getting as soon as I saw it.
I was looking at Guyver too.
Guyver.
The way of his Kind of reminds me of that old game,
Yeah.
that old video game, Zone of Enders. I love the
Yeah.
art here. Wow,
Yeah,
that's so good.
This is by Ian Warriento is the penciler, and the colorist will be Anton Bandy. They both work together on The Mighty Mascots, which is published by Alterna Comics. It's the exact same team. And I think their art is perfect for this book because so he does this and so yeah, so it's like a sci-fi superhero. Other things are like Rom. I don't know if you guys remember Rom. Space Knight is an old Marvel comic book. He's all silver. That was a big influence. Tron, all that kind of like sci-fi stuff from like the late 70s, early 80s, but especially the Japanese stuff was the kind of stuff that I was really into, like Robotech even, all that kind of stuff. So I always wanted to make something, a story and a character kind of come from that. And so that's what this is. And basically it's a pretty simple story. It's just you have this intergalactic war that has been going on since the dawn of time, and these two sides are now come together on Earth and in this small little town, and now humans are caught in the middle. And so it's there's a lot more to it. There's much more layers to it, but that's just the basic plot of it. And I do have a preview version of the Kickstarter campaign. I don't know. I could show you. I could give you the link, and then you could go and you can actually see the rough draft of the Kickstarter. But I'm not sure how to do that because I've never used this before.
Yeah.
We'll link it.
If you want, you can send it over Instagram, and I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, we'll link it.
Okay. Here. All right.
Got a bunch of people in here. What's up, everybody? I hope everybody's well. Alex, thank you. Who's Alex? Alex knows what's happening here.
Yeah, Alex Radford. He says he's a fan of 6'8".
He's a fan of 6'8". Look, he says it right here.
Awesome.
He goes, wait, time out. This is the writer from 6'8". Holy shit. Well, holy cow. So you're doing businessman stuff. Respect. I love that book, 6'8". Nice.
Well,
We
thank
got
you
some
very
fans
much.
in the building. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Word.
That's good to hear. I don't usually hear that.
Hell yeah. No, that just made me so happy just seeing that. Yo, Alex, thank you so much. Appreciate that. That's the link right there. Go check out the Kickstarter.
Yep.
Yeah, so that link is just a preview version of the Kickstarter. It's a very rough draft. So the prices you see, everything is, I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
But at least you'll see like the first 6 pages of the first issue have been drawn and colored. So you'll be able to see all that there. And then a bunch of other stuff that you can see and description of the plot and all that kind of stuff to give you an idea. And it's really important, to get momentum before the campaign even starts.
Absolutely.
So if people can click on the notify me thing, that can really help things out because this is like make or break for me, this one, and all the other ones, it's kind of like I've been putting money into this stuff. I've put at least about $10,000 into all the different books and everything, all the artwork. I've got tons of extra artwork. And so I can't keep doing that anymore. It's like I need to be able to get something back, and but I would love to keep being able to make comics and tell stories and stuff, and hopefully people will like them, enjoy them.
Oh yeah, definitely. That and it seems like you put a lot of effort into it. And I wanted to know, like, just getting the book done, like just writing your first comic, like how much work was that? And then you said you sent it out to Dark Horse and the Marvel. Which one did you send? Was it a different comic than what you're publishing now, or is it one of these comics?
What I was saying before is like when I was real young, I sent a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
To like Dark Horse, because at the time Dark Horse was the only one that would accept unsolicited projects, concepts, and Marvel, DC wouldn't take anything. You had to be a name before they would even talk to you. So I sent a whole bunch of stuff there. It's all crap. I know looking back is like, I know why they rejected everything. But so after then I kind of got out of it. And then this one, like I said, like in 2013 when I did 6-8, this one I submitted to like everybody. Dark Horse, Avatar, like I mean everything, any publisher there was, I submitted it, and I never heard from anybody. So then I was like, well, screw this, I just do this myself. I don't care. What do I need to wait for somebody else to say, hey, this is good, or worth it or whatever? I mean, I know if it's worth it or not, so I'm gonna put the effort behind it and do it.
Sure.
And so I got lucky. I found like a really good artist. His art really fit the story, perfectly. And we just did it. I just, banged it out. And it's a little bumpy because it was my first time working with an artist.
Sure.
And so we had a few little conflicts, and that's why I kind of like, I don't hear from him anymore. but but we finished it, and it got it done. And I kind of, writing comic books, because comic books are such a unique medium. It does take a lot of time to kind of try to perfect it, or get down into the rhythm of it. So it's definitely been a learning process. I'm still learning, trying to get better at it with every script that I do. So yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but this is something I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. So, and now I've got the time to do it. I've been unemployed for like a year, and my wife is working full time. So I'm the stay-at-home dad, and
Nice.
so I'm like, I've got the time. This is my opportunity. I better just take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you went into this pandemic and didn't start something or continue something or get out of it, with something, then yeah, you kind of wasted
Yeah.
some time. Not that you won't get your stride later on, but a lot of people did have free time this pandemic, and there's a lot of cool stuff happening. We have a couple of our friends here, like Pootie. He started his YouTube channel during the pandemic, and that shit blew up. Pootie's on almost at like 3,500 subscribers. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. And
Yeah.
and best of luck, man. The work
Yeah,
looks
thanks.
sick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The black and white
That's
fits
good.
so well. Looks so
That's
good.
gonna
What
be-
was the name of that one again? I want to jot that down.
This one, the Kickstarter I'm going to be running soon.
Yeah. Oh, that's part of the link. Okay. Yeah. I'll just go to the link
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
that's in that link now. But
Yeah.
it's not black and white. The actual the comic will be in full color.
Well, yeah,
This,
yeah. Just
this
that.
is
Yeah.
just a little preview
Well,
that I did.
sometimes a nice black and white one helps too. You can probably, I don't know if you can do both, but
Actually, yeah, I was.
I'm just saying.
No, sorry. I was thinking about like I just because this was just a preview, like first 6 pages. I was thinking about for this Kickstarter for this to do the whole thing as an ash can. So the whole entire book will be a black and white little ash can like this, and because I can print this at home, it's
Yeah.
not something that I have to go out and put a whole bunch of money into and have somebody else to do it and then shipping and all that kind of crap. I can just do it here, and so it'd be kind of something that I don't know, maybe people would be interested in it.
Because I remember before, a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about how the Ninja Turtles first came out. They were like real shades of gray and dark and black, and they all had
Yeah.
the same red bandanas, same like red face masks, and they were murdering people. And I liked it because the colors. It's true, the colors were simple, right? But
Yeah.
it added to the grittiness of what was going on in the comic, So it kind of like
Yeah.
made it, So yeah, I was wondering what inspired, like in the actual comic, the very first one you did. Like what? Like, are you a big horror fan? You know what I mean? Or is it specific kind of horror? Something like that. Just wondering.
Yeah, that's a good question because actually I'm not really that much into horror. It was just because at the time, like I said before, I was living in China, and I had written a bunch of scripts, and I had met super low budget film producer in Hong Kong. Not face to face, just like through emails and stuff. And I had a script that I was trying to get to Chow Yun Fat. It was
Oh,
it was like he's somebody that I've always loved his acting for a long time. So I had come up with this idea for this script for him, and I had written it out, and I was like, just trying to, I'm there, I'm in China, I'm like, let me just try it and see, talking to people in Hong Kong and stuff. And I found this guy's email. I sent him a email, and he had read the script, but he's like, I like, your writing and everything, but he's not something that he could do. This is like a big action kind of movie, and he's a super low budget kind of guy. So he said, well, hey, I have an idea for a script. Would you like to write it for me? And so I started writing a script for him, and he paid me. And while I was doing that, my wife was like, well, maybe you should try to get him, your own ideas, pitch him your own ideas for other things. And we were watching The Walking Dead at the time in China. This is like really big. This is like the first or second season. And and I guess that's the reason why she said it. It was like, you should write a horror script, because we were watching The Walking Dead, and because she's not into horror either, really. We just happened to be watching that show, and so I was like, okay. So I had a bunch of ideas, like from when I was in high school, like ideas that were really disconnected, and then I just put them all together and came up with an idea for a script, and I sent it to him, but he wasn't interested in it. But I thought, first I thought, well, maybe I could do this myself as a short film. So what I did was I took the story and I cut it up into just the very essential elements of it to make it like a 30-minute thing. And the other thing that I thought of was like telling the story out of sequence, because I had always had an idea for a story where it didn't happen, a linear story. It was like from backwards. And the first scene is actually the end of the movie of the story, and you go backwards in time to see how it all started.
yes.
So it's like all flipped. So then I thought, well, if this is a short film, I don't have a lot of time to go through all these different scenes. I can jump around and through a timeline and just tell things as I need them. And so that was one of the other components of this story. And then it all came together, but I couldn't make, I couldn't make a short film of it. So, and then I found out more about, you could make comic books and stuff. So I was like, well, let me see if I can just make it into a comic book. So I wrote it as a comic book script, and then I found an artist, and then we just went ahead and made it. So this story the story jumps around in time. It doesn't happen linearly, and it's
You actually got some praise for that in the chat. Cap,
Yeah.
that was supposed to be here with us, who actually like went and read your stuff, and he said he's a big fan of 6'8". He actually praised you for the non-linear story.
You just answered the questions he had written down for you.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's why I was letting you go. I was like, I'm hitting them up. I'm like, you still watching? I'm about to ask the questions.
By the
and
way,
you just
Amy's in the
answered them.
building.
I'm
Hey,
like,
Amy, what's up?
and I'm like, yo, my man's making this easy. I just gotta think of the questions, and you got this. It's like it's beautiful.
I know.
He literally just said it right now.
Little mind melding going on right there. It's just happening.
Yeah.
Yo, Amy, that's South Africa, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
That's
we
South
just
African
spoke
friend,
about
yes.
you earlier, Amy. Glad that you came through. Thank you so much. That's awesome. South
Yeah,
Africa in the building.
So ultimately, you took whatever that script was and made it that comic.
Yeah, so it originally started out as a full-length feature film. I, pared it all down to a short film, and then I just transferred it over to a comic book script. And again, I'm learning about how the comic book medium is different from, live action film and stuff. And I mean, obviously there's obvious differences, but in general, there are a lot of things that are similar. But I think to really do the medium service, I'm really conscious of the page turn, and I try to make it so that every page has like a cliffhanger. So like there's a real motivation or impetus for you to, turn a page, and every single page. It's not just, like at certain times.
Yeah.
Like you
So
don't want somebody to drop it, pick up their phone. You want to be like, okay, like I need to know
yeah,
what's gonna happen in this next page. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
yeah.
That
So like
anticipation
if
is
you,
set up.
yeah, exactly. And so
Yeah.
like if you have somebody who's throwing a punch, I
Mhm.
don't want to see the contact until the next page,
Mm-hmm.
because you're building up the anticipation, but you don't show it until the next page. So I'm very conscious of that, and I try to, uh, do everything, even whatever it is, if it's horror or whatever, but to have that kind of you know, um, a method to work the story. But yeah, so this was so again, it was supposed to be just a one shot thing, but when the artist was doing the art, I just thought about, well, what would happen to these characters for the rest of their lives? What would be the repercussions of this going forward? So, and I came up with things that I think would make for an interesting story. And it's not just repeating the same thing from this story. There's an actual growth to the characters. There's a total difference about what happens, how they react, and how everything, you know, plays out. And so I've got the second chapter would be 4 issues, and I've already written the first 2 issues, and I would like to do the first issue this year, like so it can be ready for Halloween. So I
Oh,
have this
sick.
one, and I also have a horror anthology that I'm doing right now. The art's all being done right now. It's going to have like 5 or maybe 6 stories in it. So I want to have those 2 books this year for Halloween.
Cool. So I have a quick question. So like,
Sure.
clearly you've been writing for a while. And, you sounds like you've dipped in and out of the industry at certain points, made some
Yeah.
contacts, and that's what's up. But like, as a writer, people always talk about the writer's block, and getting to those areas where, you're not necessarily sure what to write. So, how do you deal with the writer's block, and staying motivated, and staying in the game, and is there anything that you look to when you just completely want to get away from writing and comics to make you come back even like stronger?
Yeah. I think the main thing that I do to avoid writer's block is to have a whole bunch of different projects.
Sure.
That way, so that if one project I kind of, come to a point where I don't know what the hell I should do, I just leave it, go to another project, get my mind, into that one. And then later I can come back to the first project with a fresh perspective, a fresh, you know, view of it, and then maybe something will come up from there. So it's also kind of a double-edged sword, because I know I got like a lot of stuff on my plate, and sometimes I think it's too much stuff, and I
Hmm.
should, kind of focus more. But I think having more multiple projects helps to avoid writer's block, because like I said, you can just jump to the next thing and then come back. But I mean, I have had, like, I was saying with that guy in Hong Kong, I was writing a script for him. There were times when, I was trying to figure out the ending of the story, and I could not figure out like a good ending, a unique and interesting ending. And I would just like rack my brain like all day long for weeks at a time. And I was like, I don't know what should happen. And it just finally it just comes. I think you just got to keep at it. I think it's people like Stephen King is like, you got to look at it as like a job, just like any other job.
Sure.
Is you got to get up in the morning and just sit down and just start banging away. Even if you only write like one sentence, you just got to do it. And having that sort of routine, I think, can help you avoid like blocks and stuff like that.
All right.
Nice. And we
Now,
have Amy. We have Amy that just said, "I've been
yeah.
dealing with artistic block for the past 2 years or so. So I would love to hear these tips." Yeah.
Yeah.
What's something? I'm sorry,
No, no,
for
go, go,
for Amy, what's something that like when you like, I know you said you got to keep going, but is there anything that you go to outside of the medium to sort of just get away and do something else, and maybe whether it's video games, sports,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
going to check out the movies, anything like that is a
Yeah,
go-to
for sure.
for when you're going through a block?
Well, all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point. It's like that's the other thing I do. I play video games sometimes. Got an Xbox. Sometimes just want to zone out. I don't want to think about anything. It
Sure.
helps to kind of like, take things off your mind. Just play video games, or go see a movie and watch movies with my kids. Whatever. Just go outside. Um, just be part of life. Ideas and inspiration can come from anything. Like you go outside, you hear a conversation between two people, and it's like, oh, that's like what somebody could say or something like that. So for sure, I would say if it's like so bad that you can't really come up with anything and it feels like a ton of pressure, just leave it and then go do other stuff, anything outside or whatever. And you never know where some kind of an answer can come from something else, like playing a video game or watching a movie, and you're saying, something happens in the movie, and you're like, oh wait, if it was a little bit different than what happened in the movie, I could use that in my story and all this kind of stuff. So you can get inspiration from anything, and yeah, that's a good point. It's just like, just do whatever.
Regardless of the job, it's always important to go outside, kids.
Yeah.
Go outside, do
Go
a lap
outside.
around the block. Like when I was working from home the last 2 years, sometimes I'd get an email from a gas store within the company that's just like, took me out. Like, I'm going to need to go back to sleep. I need another 15, 20. Go outside, man. Going outside helps. Go around the block, get some sun. I'm sorry. And we actually have a question from La Flaca, and then afterwards, Le, you can go. And I
Oh,
think
no,
you
please,
touched
please.
on this a little bit, Mike. Going back to all of your high school stuff and whatever you wrote back then, and But she asked, does free writing help with creating a storyline later on?
What is free writing?
Like
What does she mean by free
just
writing?
just jotting stuff down and just writing
Kind of
anything that comes to
brainstorming,
mind
correct?
and using it later.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time too. It's or like you got your phone and you can have like take
Like voice
audio
notes.
notes, yeah, voice notes, or you can take right now. I come up with ideas because I used to, before I was unemployed, I was a power sports mechanic, worked on motorcycles and all that kind of stuff. So I would have like a notebook on my toolbox, and I would just be working on something, and an idea could pop in my head, and it's, oh, I got to write this down because I'll forget it if I don't
Yeah.
write it down.
Yeah.
I got so much stuff now that if I don't write it down, I'll forget it. So, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely like, if you want to use like a notebook, carry like a little one, you could put in your pocket or something. You can like write down notes and stuff anytime, and because yeah, some of them.
I got you, Flaca.
It's actually like 6'8". The original idea, the image, the one thing that sparked all of this was one time when I was in high school. I was at home by myself. I was walking in the kitchen past the refrigerator, and for whatever reason, it looked to me like there was a person standing
Yes.
behind the refrigerator, between the refrigerator and the wall. It's like a tiny little space. And I don't know why the hell my mind created that image, but I was like, what the fuck? And that kind of and that is in this book. That image, that thing is where a guy sees what looks like a person behind a door where there's only like this much space. So I put that in this story. But that one little thing is what eventually led to all of this. So you never know where stuff is gonna come from. So yeah.
That's it's funny
That's so
because
cool. Just a funny
at night
from inspiration.
you always think you see something like that.
Yeah.
It's funny. You're either waking up from sleep or you're doing something. You're like, "Who's that?" You're like, "I'm here alone." There's something
Yeah.
really wrong with you right now, But no, my question was going to be, I see you got Cap behind you. Like I clearly see Captain America behind you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I'm a big fan myself. So is Cavs. But I was wondering, there it is.
Check it out. I'll show it to you. I bought this for $3 at Ollie's.
Oh, wow.
What?
What?
It's got like all old school
No.
That's
mostly Kirby
Wow.
stuff,
Oh
but it's
man,
got all kinds. It's
we was
all
talking
these
like
guys.
a couple weeks about Kirby, the props you should get,
Yeah.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah, he's
As
awesome,
big
man.
as
He's the
Stan,
best, dude.
man. Yeah. The question is funny because with the writer's block and the creative stuff that Kat is talking about is you mentioned you mentioned the Japanese and the anime stuff, and also the movies and the comics that actually inspired the Legends books that you have coming out. The Legend books that you did, the Legend ones. I wonder if anything like that or the movies you said late 70s, early 80s, which I'm a big fan of that stuff myself. You know, certain ninja movies and stuff like that. I wonder if that kind of stuff inspired you for that Legends book and possibly other stuff that you plan to do in the future that is along the lines of more. I want to see traditional comic book, but you know, like hero based. You know what I mean? Like it's like good guys, bad guys. You know, it's like they're down the line middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I kind of stayed away from like traditional kind of like superhero stuff because Marvel and DC's got a stranglehold on that, and
Seriously.
a lot of people won't even look at your stuff because it's like, oh, that's not Batman, that's not from Marvel, that's not whatever. It's like, okay, well then I'm not gonna waste my time with it then, and I'm kind of like, I guess I'm old and cynical, so having that mindset of like,
Aren't we all?
you know,
I hate it.
that kind of stuff like Captain America. I don't know if I could write Captain America. I would definitely love to try, but so I think that's why the first stuff that I did was more like 6A, just a horror thing. Neotheric is like this crazy, over the top, just wild, all kinds of crazy shit. It's pretty much anything absurd that I can think of is in that book. But yeah, like that is something that after I did Neotheric, I was like, I want to make something that's more all ages, that's more like a traditional kind of hero thing that I could share with my kids and other kids. And so that's one of the reasons why I did the Book of Legend. It's more like traditional superheroes. It's like 9 short stories, and the theme is basically like the hero's journey through different genres. So you got like there's like a old pulp gangster story. There's like a Korean. Let me see.
Okay.
Like, well, I'll just show you on the cover. Like this guy right here is kind of like a Sergeant Rock, sort of from the Korean War, but there's a sci-fi
Nice.
element to it. So he's like fighting aliens in a parallel dimension. So like this girl here is like this ninja. So it's kind of like a '90s sort of story to it. This guy is kind of like a sci-fi future kind of sci-fi, like Blade Runner sort of thing.
More
And this,
cyberpunk.
yeah, cyberpunk.
Yeah, I
And
love
and this guy is kind of like the classic superhero that's based on like Greek mythology, like Superman, Wonder Woman, all that kind of stuff. So that is for that one. And then yeah, like I was saying, I always wanted to do something that kind of like a love letter to the late 70s, early 80s, like Japanese sci-fi anime and stuff. And so that's what this is. And I've been working on this for like 5 years. Um, the I'll just show you this. The design. This is something I was going to offer in the Kickstarter. This is on the backer board that will come with the book. So it's like in the bag, and I print it right onto the backer board. And so this is showing like the different designs, starting from the beginning, and this is the final version of the design. So this is like extra thing that I was going to do, but his design
Reminds me of Gray Fox from Metal Gear.
well, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid, yeah.
See that, see that. I love the fact that it's
So
called Gunny.
Gunny, yeah, that's a
I love
great
it.
one. Yeah.
Once I hear Gunny, I think of Heartbreak
Yeah.
Bridge with Clint Eastwood, Gunny
Yeah.
Highway. So it's like a little.
Well,
it's dope.
yeah, one of the characters is kind of like a Clint Eastwood character, the sheriff that's in the story.
So there you go.
Yeah, but that's his gun. He calls himself Gun Engine Zero, and so the girl just says, "Hey, how about I call you Gunny?" So that's where the name comes from. But so his design took like 3 years and about like 5 different artists before it finally got Well, finally got this design. But yeah, so that book is definitely I want to be for. I don't know if it necessarily be for little kids, but maybe like 10 years old and up kind of thing. Um, so it is something that I wanted to get into and try is to do something that could be like for a wider audience, a mainstream audience, and that's definitely what I'm doing with that one. And I also do have a superhero story that I want to do maybe next year. It is a traditional superhero. I finally came up with an idea that I think would work really well, unique story. So I got tons of things I want to do, but I can't keep, like I was saying before, I can't keep doing it if
Sure.
I don't get kind of some more support for it.
Go
And
to that Kickstarter right now.
and also speaking of
Yes,
support,
please.
I put the link to where you could get Neotheric and 6 and 8 on your Amazon page. I put your website on there, so if anybody wants to go check out his comics, the link
Oh
is
yeah,
in the chat.
yeah.
Please
Those
do
three
so.
books are all on Amazon right now, so you can get them if you'd rather get them on Amazon. I had to put the price a little bit higher because Amazon takes so much out of your.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the Neotheric is it's like $20, and they take like $7 out of it.
Jesus.
So it's ridiculous, and they won't even let you charge the actual amount for shipping. Like they have a set amount for shipping, like $3 or something, but it costs more than $3 to ship it. So you're losing money on everything you ship. So I'm like,
Damn it, Bezos.
Word.
Damn it.
bozos. That's what I call them, bozos.
And we have Pro Wrestling Fiend says, here to support, wish I could do stuff like that, cool looking stuff. We have Amy that says, Violet Evergarden was the most beautiful anime I've ever watched. If you watch it from an artist's point of view, wow. I will definitely keep that in mind, Amy. Thank you so much. And then we have Pro Wrestling Podcast saying, we will help you out, Mike. Yes, go to that Kickstarter. I'll be hitting that Kickstarter as soon as I'm out of here. Love to see more stuff. So I know Cap had some more questions to ask. Go for it.
Yeah. All right. So the questions that he had about 6 and 8, you answered already, and he wanted to ask about Neothoric, and he wanted to know what was the process like when you was writing that particular comic, and also he noticed there was a definite style change about halfway through issue number 2. Is that
Yeah,
something you can talk about, and what prompted the change?
yeah. Well, basically, I got ghosted by the first artist.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Oh,
I was like,
the harsh realities of the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I paid him. He did like the initial character designs and everything, and I pitched it as I sent it as a pitch to like Image and all these people and stuff. So we did like the first 4 pages or something, and then so I never got a response from anybody. So I was like, well, screw it, let's just do it, and I'll
Mhm.
just pay you and I'll do it. And so I paid him. I paid him like half. So we were going to do 4 issues, and I already knew at the beginning, okay, we're going to do 4 issues, and at the end of the 4th issue, if I got money, I'm going to put it together as a graphic novel. So I paid him, 50% down to start the work, and then I would pay him the rest when he's finished. So he got to like page 16 of issue 2, and then I never heard from him again.
Damn.
And so I was like, well, I've already got all this invested in it. I'm going to finish this. So I had to find another artist to do it. And it hit the first artist, Dave, his name Dave Mims. His style is extremely unique. So it's pretty much impossible to find anybody that's going to do anything close to his. So I didn't even bother with that. I just we find somebody who's dependable, who's professional, who can get it done. And well, the other thing is that the first issue took I think like a year for him to do, and then the second issue was taking almost 3 years
Wow.
for him to do, and he never finished it. So I only got 16 pages, and that was like I think it was 2 or 3 years. So it was just becoming ridiculous. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just do it. So yeah, obviously there's a definite art style change, and it's kind of jarring, I know, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's just that it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so as far as the story goes, it's just basically when I thought about it, like after no publishers were interested in, I was like, I'm gonna do this myself. And I figured, well, if I'm gonna do it myself, I'm just gonna, do whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna put like every kind of crazy shit in here.
Seriously, yeah.
I'm not gonna edit it. I mean, I'll do some edit, whatever. But if I'm gonna publish it and all that, then I'm just gonna go for it. So the idea is that it's completely absurd, but I think that especially now the way things are, I think you see that life is pretty absurd.
Yeah.
So I think it's not too crazy as far as like, ooh, this would never happen. Yeah, I don't know.
Speaks to the times.
Yeah.
It's not,
So
it's not
For real.
far-fetched at all now.
so yeah, I just put everything. It's the first 4 issues is basically like the first 24 hours when these anthropomorphic evolved dinosaurs come back to modern day Earth, and it's all this havoc that happens when they come back. And these dinosaurs they act like fucking dinosaurs because they're dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So
That's a good explanation.
That part.
it's like I don't know if you ever heard the Chris Rock thing where he talked about that guy Siegfried and Roy, one of the
That tiger
lions,
went tiger.
yeah, he said people said that tiger went crazy. It was like, no, the tiger went tiger. That's what they do.
For
So
real.
that's what I was thinking about this. It's like these
It's funny.
dinosaurs-
We have, especially me and this guy Le up there. We have quoted that line our entire lives. Like
Absolutely
seriously.
correct. And like
Yeah.
when anything goes like that, like no, that's the nature of that beast. That beast is that's it. If the gorilla ripped off your face, that's what the gorilla does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorilla, son. That's what it did.
Yeah.
Oh, we love that saying, yeah, man.
Yeah. So that was like my mindset was a story. Is like how when you're writing it, it's like, okay, these dinosaurs are just gonna be savage motherfucking animals. They're just gonna do all kinds of crazy shit, and they don't care. And especially the character who's like the T-Rex, he's like an alpha male. He just does fucking. I don't give a fuck. I just do what I do. So that's kind of like what's guiding the story. But also there is a thing about sorry about that. There's things about like family. If you read the story, you'll see what is the impetus for them trying to return to Earth and to live free. It's all about family. There's also obviously the whole thing about personal freedom. What the story is that the dinosaurs are slaves to these aliens that use them as like biological terraformers. So they go from planet to planet and they terraform the planet so that other animals and life can prosper on the planet. And so this when these dinosaurs evolve, then some of them says like I don't fuck this shit. I want to be free. I want to live. I don't want to do this anymore. And so they leave. They escape and they go back to Earth because it's in a former home world. They were here before, but they don't know that that life is really sprung up since they've been here. And that kind of thing we'll get into in the future issues about all of the more of the backstory about how everything came about. But like I said, like these first 4 issues is just like the first 24 hours when they come back and they fight with the National Guard. Then the aliens like try to get them back, and they have this cosmic serpent that comes down and tries to get them. So and the aliens work for a guy who's I'm not saying right now is God or if it's a God or the God, but it's a guy who's like, this is how the universe is. These dinosaurs are supposed to be doing this and this. There's like a very set plan for everything. And so when the dinosaurs escape, they violate all of these plans. So he's like, you have to fix this. And that's kind of like what the story is about. It's like your self-determination. It's like it's not for somebody else to decide what my life, what my destiny should be. I should be in control of that. And so that's kind of like what the dinosaurs represent.
Sick. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
That actually sounds very fun.
Yeah, Cap in the chat goes, I don't want to talk bad about the guy, but it was for the best. The second artist was awesome. And
Oh,
Amy was saying that why does this story sound like reality?
Well, listen up.
He said
Cap,
it. Things are crazy
Yeah,
nowadays.
I'm
He
waiting
said
for
it.
some dinosaurs to come and fucking dinosaur the shit out of us.
I live in Florida, sir. The dinosaurs are here. They're here. I see them all the time.
Well, look at this, Cap. You don't have to speak ill of the other comic book. I'll say, yo, you can go fuck yourself, son. That's dirt shit you did. Talking from hood status.
Yeah,
We call that shit. That's some dirtbag shit, brother. Just throw
word.
it out there. Mike
Yeah,
ain't saying Cappy, I said it. You know, and I don't plan on drawing anytime soon or going on comics, so we're good.
You're not burning bridges.
No, I'm not burning any bridges.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm incinerating whatever could develop.
Yeah,
It's never gonna
yeah,
come.
just like your guy from the boys. We'll cross that bridge when we burn it. Yeah.
My man the butcher will exactly.
Word.
Love that dude. Man.
Cap also said, yeah, when that cosmic serpent showed up, I was like, oh shit, they in trouble now.
yeah. I was just trying to like. There's all kinds of stuff, and like this is, if we can keep going with this series, because I've talked to one of the other artists that I worked with recently about it, and he's excited to jump on it. So if we
That's
can
important.
do it, if we can do it, I'm thinking about trying to run a Kickstarter for that issue 5 this summer, and the whole story will get even crazier. And like I said, this is just the beginning. This is just the start. It's gonna ramp up, to like crazy, way crazier than you can even imagine. Because I'm like, I want to put like, I don't want anybody to think that or like figure out what's gonna happen next. It's like I put stuff in there because I don't even know what's gonna happen next. So that when you read it, you're like, holy shit, what the hell's gonna happen? And then when it happens, you're like, oh, I would never thought. Because the way the story ends, I don't want to spoil it, but there's like a major cliffhanger, and I was 99% sure that no one will be able to figure out how it's gonna turn out. So, but I'm trying to put stuff like that into just craziest stuff that you can think of.
Shit, nah, I hear you. That's definitely a way to keep the readers interested in the next chapter.
Yeah.
Is there like a dream project or maybe like a dream collaboration? Something that you would like to do, maybe work with a famous artist or writer. I might not know these artists and or writers, but do you have anything like that would be like, all right, I'm here, I made it, dream goal?
Yeah. Well, as far as comic books go, like I love Art Adams. I mean, his art is just amazing. If I had Art Adams, working on a book with him, that would be incredible. Like these big artists that I grew up with. I know JR is kind of sort of gone downhill recently, but when I was, young and he was on X-Men, I mean, he was the shit. I loved his stuff. Who else? I mean, Ryan Otley even is one, like a kind of newer guy that I think is just an amazing artist. So there's definitely artists that I would love to be able to work with for sure, like them. Todd McFarlane, of course, would be incredible. And characters, like if I could get a chance to do with Captain America, I have some ideas for Captain America stories. I would love that opportunity, just to say like I had like one story in the whole mythos of Jack Kirby and Joe Simon's creation. It's there for all eternity. Captain America, G.I. Joe. I mean, I love G.I. Joe. I grew up with G.I. Joe.
Yes.
I would love to. I would love to be able to do like my own kind of take on it, starting from scratch. Even if it was like a movie or something. Things like that. If I could do a movie, I would love to do a Robotech movie. Because I love that series. That cartoon just like changed my life, like opened my eyes to so much stuff. things like that. You know, it's like certain properties and characters that I would love to be able to do. But you know, what I'm doing now is like some of these characters are versions of are sort of like versions like this, you know, this guy here. I mean, he started off as basically my idea for a reboot of ROM
Mm-hmm.
that I was going to try to pitch to Marvel. And so I thought because I had heard, you know, guys know Mark Millar. He's, you know, the writer who did like Wanted, Kick Ass, all those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Jupiter's Legacy, all that kind of thing. I had read that he like when he was trying to break in at Marvel, what he did is he just took like these you know, D level, C level Marvel characters that they weren't using, and said he came up with ideas for stories with them. He figured that if he came up with a story and pitched it to Marvel for a character they weren't using, they would be more receptive to let him, you know, kind of write a story and stuff.
Mhm.
So I thought of the same thing. It's like, well, what characters like that are not real active right now could I do a story for? And one was Rom, the other was like Cloak and Dagger. If you remember those, the guy and the girl, and the other was the Team America. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a old comic where they were like brothers that rode motorcycles,
Whoa.
and it was called Team America. And then I think later they changed it to the Marauders or something.
Okay, the Marauders, I remember.
That
Yeah.
that
I remember
sounds
that.
Yeah.
I was wondering
So I thought
who's your favorite. I'm sorry, you were saying?
No, let's go ahead.
No, I was wondering who your favorite G.I. Joe character was.
Storm Shadow. Right there,
yeah.
bro.
It's usually
right
Snake
there.
Eyes. Usually Snake Eyes.
Yeah, I guess I'm like a contrarian. You know, it's like the one character that everybody's supposed to like. It's like I hate that guy. You know, give me somebody else.
Who is that character in G.I. Joe? Because I might be the opposite. I'm a beachhead guy.
I'm a
Oh yeah, I
Beachhead
like
guy,
Beachhead too. I like
Yeah,
I'm a
okay.
Beachhead.
Beachhead guy too. Yeah, that guy is honestly, it's either Snake. It's always been Snake Eyes or Duke. It's either
I
Snake
don't
Eyes.
like Duke
Everybody
either.
loves Snake Eyes, or everybody loves Duke. And if you're a wrestling fan, automatically Sergeant Slaughter.
Yep, that's mine.
That's the way it works. But I was always like, I like Snake Eyes, and I'm a fan of Storm Shadow. But for some reason, Beachhead, I don't know what it was. I guess because he's a drill instructor, and it's
Yeah,
gear.
I think that's Beachhead right there.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's Beachhead or Firefly. That's Beachhead.
that's Beachhead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a
Yeah,
little.
these are my three favorite right here.
I had a little
Oh,
GI
correct.
Joe. Had a little GI Joe beachhead, man. I don't know where he is now.
Mhm.
It's kind of sad, but it was like my favorite little toy. It was like a good luck charm thing, and life hasn't been the same since I lost that toy. I'll tell you that much. There
Life's a
was some
beach.
lucky qualities to the life's a beach for sure.
I was a fan of Cobra Commander too because he was the absolute first cowardly leader I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
He was
did
like,
so
I was
well,
like,
though.
how you people following this dude? He quits every day.
Well, he's much better in the comic than in the cartoon. I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
like
yeah.
the way he was in the cartoon. In the comic, he was much more believable. And I mean, I like his look. You know, he looks
Mhm.
like cool as shit. You know, snake and all that kind of crap. I
was
got
thinking-
like 4 different versions of Storm Shadow up there, and can't see him, but he's all the way up at the top. And there's one that's like a Hong Kong company makes. It's like a 12-inch, and it's super articulated. It's got all this kind, but it's like $150. It's like, man, I want that, but I can't justify that.
Yeah, models are like I wish I could just get every model that I see, but man, some of those things are pricey, man. I like a lot of like the Resident Evil models. Yo, them just could run like there's like a Leon Kennedy with like a motorcycle. It's just like almost $800. Like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is crazy.
They're pretty.
There's a Punisher one where the guy's on a pinball machine after he kills him. And it's like they have it as just like a plain figure, and it's like $20, but then they have a bigger one that's very, very detailed. That's $450. I'm like,
yeah, it's crazy,
dude. If I had the money, I didn't have a room like that, but just to get that for that, I'm like, can I be part of the movie at that point?
I'm a huge,
for
I'm
real.
a
Movies you guys
huge,
make, just put me in.
I'm a
Let me
huge
get out of
Final
pinball machine.
Fantasy. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. Final Fantasy 7 in particular. I like 8. I like 9. But there's a sculpture. It's like it's big. I want to say, yeah, I would say it's 12 maybe. But it's Sephiroth with the wing, the one wing. It's just like almost $1,500. I'm like, dude, why is it so expensive? But I would love something like that.
Well,
Yeah,
I've seen
and the-
Macross, Macross Robotech.
Yeah.
There's some company, I think it's called Kits Concepts. They have like a cockpit. It's just the cockpit of the Valkyrie,
Uh-huh.
but inside they have LEDs so everything lights up and the panels and everything. The cockpit, the top of the canopy comes off and all this. I think it's like $2,500 or something.
Jeez.
I mean, it's insane. I would love if I was a millionaire, I'd get it.
Of course.
But it's just ridiculous.
Amy has a question in the chat. She wanted to know if she can get your comics in like a PDF form or like online, because trying to get stuff shipped to South Africa is next to impossible. Their postage system sucks for a third world country.
Yeah, every time when I do a Kickstarter or something, I have PDF versions that are available to people. So if she wants to do the Kickstarter later, the Kickstarter will have, this book. Obviously, I'm doing that for this book, but all of these other books will also be available. So people can get those books as well, either physical copies or PDFs. So yeah, the whole international shipping thing is ridiculous. Even just like to Canada or something.
Yeah.
It's like $25 or whatever. So yeah, I will have PDFs of all of the books available.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sweet.
And Pro Wrestling Fiend wants to know, have you ever considered doing a YouTube channel, maybe like a narrative comic book, kind of like a voiceover? You ever thought about doing that?
Well, I do have a YouTube channel. I haven't done a lot of stuff with the comic books recently. I started it to kind of do like a nuts and bolts sort of like making comics thing where I talk about, like writing, like how to
The
do
process.
yeah, exactly. I've done a couple videos on that, but I'm trying to make the comics takes up so much time. It's hard to also do a YouTube channel and always constantly have videos.
Yeah.
I did start another thing where it's about novels, where I read like the first 4 pages of a novel, just to get like because in like creative writing they always say like you got to have a real strong opening.
The first 15.
Yeah. And I've heard some people say like agents and producers and stuff, they'll only read the first page.
Mm-hmm.
And if the first page doesn't grab them, they'll just toss it. So when I was thinking about that, I was like, well, what I can do, I just get some books from the library. I'll read the first 4 pages, and just as a way to kind of like, talk about this kind of thing where, it's a creative writing thing where you think about like what doesn't work or what works and trying to grab people right off the bat. So I just started doing that. But yeah, I'm just like with 2 kids and trying to put all these books together and stuff. I don't have a ton of free time, so there's not so much other stuff that I can do. And I want to focus on actually making the books and getting them out. So if I could, if I got enough support, I could probably put out, like 5 or 6 books every year. Because I got so much stuff that I want to do that I'm writing right now, so that it'll be ready later. Yeah. So I've kind of got like a pipeline set up where I've got this project and then that one right after and that one after. So
it's kind of like a music producer. They've been making beats forever.
Yeah.
You get that one beat. Now everybody wants to hear your catalog. Well, it's like, motherfucker, that's what I was trying to sell you before. Now that I'm here. So that's actually a good segue about another question that I have in terms of the writing. So you said that your first comic that you wrote and introduced and tried to ship out to someone was at 11 years old. So, was writing something that always came natural to you? Or are you kind of like a self-taught writer, or did you go to school, maybe take some classes?
Yeah, I didn't take. I'm pretty much self-taught in everything.
Awesome.
It's like
that's what's up.
Yeah, like because back in the old days, I found my mom had a typewriter. It was in the closet. I took it out and just started, like banging away. I taught myself how to type.
Sweet.
Um, and that's in the old days where like if you made a mistake on a page, you had to rewrite the whole goddamn page.
Yeah, yeah. I
Or
remember
even
those.
on typewriters, I remember there was this like little it's like a little strip, almost like a band-aid. You'd put it over what you wanted to delete.
Yeah,
Now you have to rewrite the mistake that you made
yeah.
so that it can delete it. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I still have somewhere in the closet. I mean, like stacks and stacks of papers and stuff that I was writing when I was a little kid. It's just like trying to come up with my own stories. And when I look at them now, I mean, obviously they're complete shit, but embarrassing, cringy kind of stuff. But at the time, I was like, oh, this is so awesome. Look at this character, it's so great. They're like, this is amazing. It's an epic. Everybody will love this.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I don't think so. But it's definitely like, what is the saying? Like you can't become an expert in something until you spend like 10,000 hours doing it or something
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah,
So it's definitely, you just got to put the time into it. And,
yeah.
I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, I thought that this is something that I really could do. I could do it well. And then I really wanted to do it. There's lots of things that I like doing, like I like working on bikes and stuff and, rebuilding engines and all that kind of thing. Um, there's all kinds of things I like, but this, for one thing, is like I love doing it. The other thing is I'm hoping that maybe it can be something that creates kind of like a legacy that maybe can provide for my children when I'm gone.
Sure.
Because this is another thing that when I started writing in China is I was having a lot of health problems and I kind of seriously thought that I might not be around for much longer. So I
Damn.
was thinking about, well, maybe if I could do something and then it could catch fire or whatever, it could provide for my family when I'm not here. Um, so these are kind of things that kind of thinking long term. It's not just like, um, hey, I got an idea for a comic book. Let me make one comic book. There's a long term plan. There's a lot of things that I have set up that I want to do. And I'm thinking some of these things are like 5 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
Uh, so, it's just, so there's a lot of reasons why I like doing this and I want to be able to keep doing it. And I want to be like my own man, to be able to, not have to always work for somebody else or
100%. Yeah.
live under somebody else's, you got to be at this place at this time and do this and sit there and do this and wear a mask and do that and do all this crap because I tell you to, it's like, screw you, just like the dinosaurs in the thing, that's kind of where it comes from is my own attitude. It's like, I just want to be free. I want to be my own person and be able to, determine my own life.
Well, yeah. Best of luck and glad that you are doing better now, man. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now, go ahead. I've been asking a lot of questions.
no,
I'm
no.
sorry.
I wanted to read. Amy made a comment saying, just to tell you a story. She knows a cartoonist in South Africa that started off doing cartoons in the political space, and now he's fully independent by his supporters. So you got this. She wanted to show some support to you, Mike.
Nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. There's
Well,
definitely, you can see examples of that, people just, I mean, even just like on YouTube channels, people starting a YouTube channel and then it just blows up and then they're able to have their own life just from that.
some
Yeah.
of my favorite stories like that are like, this happens a lot in video games where video games are like made unfinished or broken, or you have this modding community, these people who, they take their PCs and they take these games and make like their own games, and then the developers, producers, writers, directors, they see this stuff. They're like, hey man, you want to come on board and just get jobs like that. I think it's cool. But one quick question from me. So again, you've mentioned a few times that you've written a lot of stuff and you have a lot. What's your baby? What's the thing that like you're protecting with everything you got? What's the thing?
My kids.
Of course, I also
Yeah.
have a child, so I get that. But in terms of your like your comics and stuff,
Well, that's hard. That would be like asking me to pick my favorite kid.
that's exactly what I'm telling you to do. Yeah.
Because everything has, each of these stories is almost like it's a piece of
Sure.
me. So there's different, reasons why it's special to me. And maybe if I had to pick, I would say maybe like Neotheric is kind of
Cool.
like overall kind of represents me,
Yeah.
like a lot of the ideas that I think are kind of important. And they're not on the surface of the story. It's not like trying to cram it down your throat or whatever. It's underneath. Um, but yeah, I guess if I had to pick like one that was like most representative that I thought was like, yeah, this is the one that I really want to succeed the most.
Yeah.
Even if I don't, I know that it's not something that a lot of people would, like, because it's very, it's kind of a niche sort of a story. There's a lot of violence. There's some bad language.
Oh, we
There's
like that here.
We love that over
Yeah.
here.
Started smiling
But-
right away. I heard that. I was
just,
like, there's
just
a lot of violence.
you
bad
just
language.
you just described me and Lay.
Speaking that language, brother.
Yeah. So,
Listen to
but so there's definitely an audience for it, but I don't think it's a wide audience. But something like the Gun Engine Zero, I think for sure it's like it could maybe be way more popular. I don't know. But I mean, I still love that story too. There's still a lot of stuff in that story that comes from my own personal life experience. Even though it's like a sci-fi adventure kind of thing, there's a lot of stuff. Every story I write, there's a lot of little things from my own life that I try to put into a story to make it more real. Even if it's like this crazy adventure, that the characters still have to feel like real people, even if they're not people. They
Yeah.
have to have like real motivations and things that like their reasons for doing what they're doing, and things that they like, things that they hate, things they're afraid of, all that kind of stuff. And so I always put like a little bit of that in everything. But yeah, I think it would definitely be Neotheric, because if I could come back as anything, it would be a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
The original
ya.
king.
I hear ya.
Hear that.
Now, like, I guess, and I'll let you know, we usually go on for like 3 hours. So if you got stuff to do, shit to write, you let us know. But, talk a little bit more about like, all of this new stuff in terms of comics. We have the MCU, DCU, are you an MCU guy, DCU guy? Who's your guy? Who's your movie? What do you think of all of these TV shows? You
Yeah.
have anything to say about that?
Well, it's funny because growing up with comic books, being such a huge fan of like comic books was such a huge part of my life. It was me and my brother, we would sit around just imagining like one day if they make a movie of the
Oh, God.
X-Men or
Yeah.
something like that, it would be so awesome. And then now you finally have it. It's become reality. And now we're seeing all of these superheroes and stuff in movies, but they're not always good.
Yeah,
It's,
that's why I'm asking. Yeah, like any of them stick out, or you can be
uh,
honest. If you hate that shit, let us know, please.
Yeah, yeah.
well,
Please.
the problem, because we just saw, I took the family, we saw the new Spider-Man movie just a couple
Okay.
weeks ago.
Oh, here we go.
I
This is
thought
what
it
I'm
was, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, there were some moments in it that I really thought, just knocked it out of the park. There was like the moment, when Andrew Garfield, he saves MJ.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
I was like, I knew it was coming. You see, it's coming, but did they actually let that moment breathe? For him to react. I felt that.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, that was nice. There's some things that it's like the problem with a lot of these Marvel movies is like they're so similar. It's always the same kind of basic
formula.
story. Yeah. And this is why I really liked WandaVision. I thought that was excellent.
Here we go.
I mean, I'm a big fan of David Lynch, and I don't know if you guys know David Lynch did Twin Peaks and all kinds of
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
He's kind of a weird guy. He does little, stuff that's a little off, but I like that, especially Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks was just amazing to me. I mean, like when I saw it the very first time, that first episode, dude, that kind of thing, like it hits you and it stays with you forever. Uh, and WandaVision to me felt a lot like a David Lynch kind of a story. At the end, it went back to kind of the Marvel kind of just big explosion
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
It would have been. I like that moment with the two visions and they're just talking.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought that was really good.
Absolutely.
And if you're doing a TV show, then you can explore these kind of things and do things a little bit differently. You don't have to have just big explosions or somebody's always trying to destroy the world and all this kind of crap. But that's also with the comics. I mean, that's one reason why I got out of the comics is because everything is a fucking event.
Yeah.
It's like, why does it need to be an event? It's like one after the other, literally. It's like the world's gonna die, the universe is gonna die, all this kind of shit. It's like, well, what about just personal stories where where you get to see these people, these characters, like what motivates them, all this kind of stuff. And
I say it all the time. Marvel is at its best when it's just people kicking it. I say it
yeah,
all the time.
The ground level stuff, yeah.
Ground level.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a massive Punisher fan. Is like for the Punisher, not every day the world's gonna explode.
yeah,
He's just gonna do what he does. You know what I mean? On a street level, and it's gonna happen. Tomorrow's gonna come, but not after a bunch of people die, and he makes sure everybody that needs to die dies. But he's gonna wake up tomorrow, rinse, repeat. But it happens. Like his world doesn't end if he doesn't kill that one guy. I'll catch him later.
Yeah.
And I can understand where you come from. You know what I mean? I perfectly understand. Like, yo, I want to know about the individual. Like I tell these guys, I want to know about not necessarily their superpower or this. I want to know about their skill. What is the skill they actually have that's not their superpower? Whether it's intelligence, detective skills, physical attributes, martial arts, whatever. I want to see that more than anything else in a character. And I'm completely with you on that. And it's funny because you say David Lynch, I think of like Tim Burton,
Yeah.
where he doesn't fit the medium. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I watched Twin Peaks, and at first I was like, it's weird, but then I started to get it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like when I was younger, I used to love The Hitchhiker and Tales of the Crypt, especially The Hitchhiker, because I'm like, how cool is that? Even though I realized now he was just homeless. But like, it's pretty cool down, getting all these stories and then telling them somewhere else. So I can completely, I know where you're coming from, Mike. Man, I completely get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, and I think kind of like when if I had to sort of like break down what I write, is I think is everything I do is kind of comes from like a blue collar sort of perspective. So even if, like, just for example, I have an idea for a Star Wars story, and in my story, it's about a crew, like an AT-AT crew, and they're just in some far off location, whatever. And the story is just about those guys on the crew. And so it's not this big epic thing. It's like you're taking the big epic thing and you're bringing it down to the personal level, how it affects the characters. And so that's kind of like everything I do is like that. So like the Neotheric with the dinosaurs, it's a big story because it's spans the whole cosmos. You got cosmic beings, you got a god and all this kind of stuff, but really it's just about the characters and like their interpersonal relationships and how they struggle from like day to day just to live. And also like this Gun Engine Zero story, it's a big sci-fi thing where you got like these two warring um, alien species creatures, but what it's gonna come down to is the personal relationship between this girl that meets the main character, how they kind of affect each other, and how things play out that way. I don't want to spoil everything because obviously it's a big thing, but that's kind of when I look at my own stuff and think about like, what am I doing? What am I writing? Why do I write stories like this? I mean, it comes from that, just trying to be like telling stories from like a simple everyday blue collar sort of perspective.
Funny as you say that, I think you would probably be great at writing, because I spoke about the fact that we're supposed to do damage control for Marvel.
Yeah.
And damage control is literally about a bunch of people that just clean up after all the crap that happens.
Yeah.
Like, there's a war here, we clean up after it. I think
Yeah.
that's probably the exact same kind of thing you're going for with that with the crew in Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's essentially everyday people that have to pick up the shit after these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would love to watch something like that.
Yeah, that would be dope. Yo, Mike, I got a few questions. I'm getting hit from all angles here. The first one, Kenny hits me up and he wanted to ask questions like, what was the biggest thing that you had to adjust to when you was living in Japan?
China.
It was China.
He fucking wrote Japan. In China. Sorry.
I wish it was Japan. That's where I wanted to go. Because my dad was in the army. He's a Vietnam vet, and when I was growing up, he used to watch all the kung fu movies and stuff, like Bruce Lee and everything.
Yeah.
So I grew up with that, and watching these movies and stuff, I became really into Eastern culture and just everything. And then later, when I got into high school, got into like anime and manga and stuff like that. So I really wanted to go to Japan. And I was working on motorcycles, and I liked the sport bikes, like Kawasaki, Honda, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't work on Hondas, Harleys. I work on the Japanese stuff. So that was my goal, was to actually go to Japan, but it didn't work out that way. And I found a job working in China, and so it was. It's almost like being in another world. It's pretty crazy.
What time were you there from? What was the time?
I left in August of 2008, and we moved back in October of 2015. So it's like 7 years, and I had every intention when I left to stay there forever. I got rid of everything that I had, and I didn't plan on ever coming back, but plans don't always work out.
Sure.
So it was definitely an experience. I mean, there's so much things. We could be here for like 50 hours talking about everything, but man, it's almost like the Wild West, if you can imagine like what the Wild West was in America. And at the time that I was there, it's like, because they think like China is like this communist country, and I don't know, some people think, I guess, that soldiers or whatever walking on the streets with guns and keeping everybody under control and everything, but it's not like that at all. It was like totally free. It was much more free than America. It's like, because if you want to rent an apartment or something here in the States, you got to have a credit score. They got to do the background check. You got to have all this kind of stuff. But in China, it's like, you got the money, here you go. There's your apartment. That's it. And it was like one time I rented a whole house. It was 3 floors, 5 bedrooms, all by myself. It cost me like $200 a month.
Wow.
Shit. We moving to China, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know now. Things are a lot different now.
Yeah.
They got this social credit score thing, which is they didn't have when I was there, and I think it's gotten pretty bad now. But at the time, I mean, and it depends on where you live. Like at that time, I was living where the racetrack was. It's in a little city called Zhuhai. It's just across the bay from Hong Kong. So it's a real small city. I lived in a village that was right outside of the racetrack. And so, there's nobody. You just do whatever the fuck you want to do. Nobody's there doing anything. There's no police or anything. But if you go to Beijing, Shanghai, then things are going to be much more strict. Like in Beijing, you can't have a car unless you were born there and you can get the license plate. Because there's so many people that want to come to live in Beijing. It's way too overcrowded. So the way they
Cuba.
tried to control it is, my dad's Cuban too, by the way. But they try to control it by like limiting the license plates. And to get a license plate, so you have to have been born in Beijing, and you have to have like this household. It's not like a passport, shows that you were born there, your family's there.
Oh, we need
And
that for New
then
York.
on top of that, then you got to pay like 250,000 RMB, which is like maybe 40,000 US dollars or something, to get a license plate for your car.
Jesus, that sounds like you getting a taxi license over here.
Yeah,
We getting bikes. We getting
Yeah,
bikes.
for real. No
Yeah.
wonder everybody in
Y'all gonna
China
have-
is so
y'all got
skinny.
some
They
really
all gotta ride
strong
bikes.
legs.
Word.
Yeah.
We
So,
getting
but
bikes.
yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, all I can say is like when I first got there, I was single. I hadn't met my wife yet, and it was like a nonstop bachelor party. We would just, I would work during the day at the track. Then we'd go out, like some of the guys that I worked with, and so whoever, like we would just meet people at the clubs and stuff. We would go to KTVs and clubs and everything, and we'd be out until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Then I'd have to go back and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go back to the racetrack. And they just kept doing that. It was like every day, and I would travel to different cities because they would do like stunt bike shows in different cities around China. So we did that too. So it was real fun when I first got there, but it was kind of crazy, and I kind of got wore down by it a little bit. But
Sure.
eventually, I met my wife, and then kind of settled things down and changed my focus a little bit. But it's and the food is not like the Chinese food you get here.
Of
The
course,
Chinese
yep.
food here is not real Chinese food, so you're not really gonna find any of that stuff over there. So it's different.
What they eat in the back of the Chinese restaurants is real Chinese food. What
Yeah.
they don't serve us.
Damn,
Exactly.
So we staying in New York, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I told my wife. I was like, you look when you go to, like, if you go to America, you go to a Chinese restaurant, a buffet, whatever, and then you look and see what the people that work there, what
Yeah.
they eat. They bring out, they got their own little thing, and they bring out. It's not the food that they serve you.
No.
It's completely different. So yeah, it's not real Chinese food. But I mean, I can say that most of the people that I met in China were super nice to me. I mean, like incredibly nice. Like they would invite you to their house. People you'd meet at the club or whatever would just all night buy you drinks and stuff. Most people were like super nice. There were some people that would, give you the stink eye and all that kind of stuff. But I never had a problem with, really anybody. So it was definitely a good time, and I would probably have stayed there if it wasn't for my daughter and her education and everything. This
Sure.
education system over there is horrible. Even my wife will tell you that it's really bad. So we decided to come back to the States, and that's why we're here.
Cool.
I hear you. All right, a few more questions. Cap wrote down. He goes, how cool is it that your passion projects are actually being made and sold? And people have the opportunity to buy them and all that.
Great question.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what it's all about. It's like, if I write something, it just sits on the shelf back there. It don't mean shit. I mean, it's all about, people reading it and then hearing what their reaction is. I mean, that's the big thing. It's like I was saying before, I had gotten out of comics and I'd gotten into film and video and stuff. And there was one time in particular where we made this like short film, and it was at the Fort Lauderdale Film Festival where they showed it, and it won first place in this little contest thing.
Sweet.
And we were in a theater. It wasn't a normal movie theater. This was like a huge like stage theater. And so there was probably like 1,000 people in there. And when they showed our little short film, and hearing like people laugh when the jokes came up and all that kind of stuff, it was just amazing. It's like a drug, your whole body just starts tingling. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why I did this. Is it's not about me or anything else. It's about that experience, sharing that with other people, and then hopefully, they'll appreciate it, or they'll understand it, or they'll take something from it, even if they don't necessarily like it. If they understand kind of like what you were trying to do, or whatever, they can appreciate it, then yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's really all it is about. I would love to get feedback from people to say, tell me like what they liked. And when I've gone on other podcasts and people like tell me like, oh, I love Neotheric, that was awesome, but it's like, yes, that's amazing. I love that. Yeah.
That's
Who cares
dope.
what I think? Who cares what you guys think?
Yeah. Show is in the chat, and he wants to know: have you ever incorporated your kids in your comics?
Yeah. Well, sort of. In 6-8, the girl's name is Matilda. That's my daughter's name.
Okay.
Nice.
The character's wife no, the detective in the story is named Vivian Chen. That's my wife's name.
Nice.
That's her English name that she chose,
Yeah.
is Vivian. So I put them in that story. In this Gun Engine Zero story, there's going to be a little kid, a little boy. His name is Kez. That's like my son's name is Marquez,
Okay.
and my daughter calls him Kez, so it's his little nickname. So I put him in there. And just to show you this, my daughter's made her own mini comic.
Yes.
She's making like
That's dope.
Yes.
I've been doing these with for the last couple Kickstarters. This is the first book. I got the other book there too, and she's working on the third book right now. And so
Nice.
they're just like 12-page
That's so good. Oh my God, that's
mini
so
comic.
good.
So she got into that. I helped her, and she wrote it and she drew it, and then we scanned it in, and then I help her do the colors and letters and everything, and then we print it at home. And so I'll be offering that too on the Kickstarter. And also, I don't know if you see this shirt. This is it says comic books for kids. It's kind of worn out. I've had this for a while, but this is a charity that gives comic books to, and other stuff like Funkos and all this kind of stuff, to kids that are in hospitals. Some of them have terminal illnesses. And what I've been doing is, like, when somebody buys one of the books, we send one of the books to the charity. So I match it 1-for-1.
Okay.
And there's a guy on Facebook, Russell, and I talked to him about it, and he told me his son has like heart surgery, and he was telling everybody about like what a big difference it made when he was with his son, and like all the pain he was in the hospital, but just having like a comic book or something took his mind off of all of that.
Yeah.
And so once I found out about that, I wanted to help out, and that's what I've been doing, is just for my daughter's comic. Like, whenever people will buy like the book or the set, I'll match it and send one to the charity too. But my kids have finally gotten into comic books after pushing them for a couple of years. They finally got into it, and my daughter's making her own comic book.
That's dope.
That's
Great
dope.
call,
That's cool.
great calls too, and great question,
yeah,
shows.
yes.
Real nice question.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember in the fourth grade, we had like a class project, and my friend and I, Ed, we decided to do a comic book, Banana Man, and we won like the contest. We were so excited. We kept trying to do it like just to mess around, but no, we quickly figured out that was difficult to do, and we were what, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11. This guy's over here at 11 years old. Here you go, Marvel. Just, we're over here like, what do we do? Yeah, fucking.
It's all right.
stapling
Marvel just
pages
threw it
together.
back and said, "Here you go. I don't want this."
Still.
Yeah, but
you had the brass to send it
yeah,
out.
right.
Yeah.
That's not an easy. You
For
got to
real.
build up to that kind of courage, man.
The only time I ever contacted a company about something, they fired the dude I talked about, and that was I contacted WWE about Shelton Benjamin, and they fired him. So that's why, that's why I don't
Jesus.
contact people no
Yeah.
more. I praised them, and they said get him out of here. I was like, fuck. But yo, Mike, I got a hard hitting question for you now.
All right, hit me.
Growing up, DC or Marvel?
Definitely Marvel.
I get
To me, I don't know why, but to me, like when I was growing up, DC seemed like very kiddish, like little kids. And even though I was a little kid, I didn't want to be a little kid. I would
Yeah.
think of myself as like, so like, well, obviously, like I said before, my dad was in the army, so GI Joe was the biggest thing. I love GI Joe, and just to me, GI Joe was all about just like action adventure. Wasn't necessarily military thing or whatever. It was just they went out and did all kinds of adventures. They had cool vehicles, cool weapons, all this kind of stuff. And I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah.
You don't want to be the little kid. DC was little
Oh, the
kid
DC,
stuff.
yeah. So DC, I don't know. A lot of the stuff just kind of seems silly to me. I mean, it still does. Even Batman, even though Batman is portrayed a lot of times as this bad, dark, all kinds of nasty, violent, all this stuff. He's a guy in a bat suit. It's like I don't know. I mean, I'd love to write a Batman story. I got Batman stories, that I would love to do. But if I did it, you wouldn't really see Batman that much. He'd be kind of like the alien in Alien, where he's sort of like this mysterious thing that you don't really see to, instill fear and all this kind of stuff in people. But yeah, I don't know. It's just DC. When I was littler, DC didn't really do anything for me. Later on, I think after they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think, where they
Yeah.
rebooted everything,
Yeah.
like in '86 or something. Then I tried some of the things like Flash. There was Mike Baron did a Flash, the series for. I thought that was pretty good. I like that, and also I think Jackson. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Geiss or something, Guice.
Yes.
He did the art on that. I thought it was really awesome. I liked his art. And Todd McFarlane did Batman Year 2. That's when I first saw his art. Now I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So I got more into DC then, but I think I gravitate more towards the characters in Marvel. I think, like we were talking before, like they're more kind of like grounded, and they're
Yeah.
more like everyday, sort of like Punisher, Daredevil, the X-Men. Even though they're like have these all crazy powers, Chris Claremont wrote them where it focused more on just like the normal everyday, usually the normal everyday and like interpersonal things. So I like that kind of stories and characters more. So it's MCU. I mean the MC, and as far as the movies go, I think the Marvel movies, with all their problems, they're like way better than the DC movies so far. I thought the first Wonder Woman movie was all right.
That's that second one.
Yeah, that one was crazy. I was like watching that, like, what the fuck is going on?
We've
That's-
spoken about it
that's-
here plenty of
That's
times.
literally the same reaction. I was like, did the same person direct this movie?
It's like,
What happened?
how are they getting in a jet that's at a museum and it's got fuel in it? What the fuck? Is this a cartoon? What?
Well,
This-
they
essentially
granted the wish.
kidnapped a man from his life.
Yes.
She just said, "Oh, you're no longer gonna live your life."
yeah.
That's kidnapping and also rape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah, no,
mean,
it's not consensual.
but I mean, when Gal Gadot does it to you,
Oh yeah, I'd let her.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
consensual, whether you know about it or not.
Like you come back and be like, okay, so what did you guys do to me? And I was with her. I'm gonna let it slide.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let it slide.
that's when you do that.
I'm
Are you
talking
gonna
about
admit that? Because
Did you take pictures?
yeah,
I need
yeah,
proof.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you, Did you take out your little Polaroid and
Yeah,
it's 84, by the way.
Yeah.
It's 1984, folks.
with the big
Oh,
flash on it.
Members jackets.
There was Polaroid. There was Polaroid.
Yeah,
There
we-
was Polaroid.
That's why you tell him we're gonna have to do this shit again to make sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
now that I'm
See if you
awake.
see if you still like it.
Yeah.
That's
Do you have a
right.
favorite MCU movie, actually? Like one that you're like, I can watch it and not be completely. Ugh.
Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I've probably seen that one about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times they'll show it, sometimes on TV and stuff, and when I've had cable or whatever. So yeah, that's one that I think I can just sit down and watch and enjoy it every time. Not necessarily that it's amazing movie, but I think it's probably the best one. And yeah, so yeah, some I don't know. It's hard to say because it's like, I mean, yeah, I think I like the first Iron Man. I think the first one because it was sort of like it started everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really kind of blown away that they took it seriously.
Yeah.
They seemed to put like real effort into it to make it like a real movie. It didn't matter that it's a superhero or anything. And so when I first saw that at the theater, I was like, holy shit, this is, and Robert Downey Jr. is really good
Yeah.
as Tony Stark. So I think there would probably maybe be a tie between those two. I think it's, and the scene where he, you know, when he finally breaks out of the cave, he built it, and then he's just, you know, mowing through people. That's freaking awesome. I love that. And I will say this, and what was it, Endgame? You know, when Thanos is beating the shit out of Thor, he's got him on the ground, and then Mjolnir flies and knocks him out, and then Mjolnir comes back and it's Cap. Dude, I this close to jumping out of my seat in the theater. I was like, motherfucker!
Cap
That's
did
I'm
it.
getting goosebumps. As you say it, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's
Cap
happening.
actually jumped out of his seat. My brother Cap, he actually jumped out of his seat. The minute Molière started moving, he knew it was Cap. He knew it was Cap. He's like, nope, Cap did it. He just, it was. We almost started a Royal Rumble in that one.
Yeah, that was that's what I can say about that movie is like that's the only time in my entire life, every movie I've ever seen that has moved me like that to that point.
That's
It is just I mean, it's one thing because you know obviously I'm a big fan of Cap and you know, but they built up that moment so perfectly and it hit so perfectly. Oh my god, I was like, oh. I caught myself. I was like, holy shit. And sometimes I'll go, you know, just to like pick myself up. I'll go watch that clip on YouTube and stuff. Just be like, oh, fuck, this is amazing.
That's a great motivational clip to watch for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But then they
It's
kind of
funny,
screwed it up because he beats the shit out of Thanos, but then Thanos just rolls away and then just knocks him out.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel comes and saves the day. It's like, he should have, and Cap should have like destroyed him. I mean, he should have been like almost dead there, because then you kind of, if it doesn't happen, then you kind of undercut that moment. It's like it should be this huge moment where he stands up to him, he beats the shit out of him, and he's finally gonna kill this motherfucker, but then something happens.
Release
But
the
he kind
Kraken.
of just. Yeah, but he just like hits him a bunch of times and he falls down, but then he kind of just rolls out of the way and knocks him off, and he's like not really fucked up or anything. So that was my one complaint about that kind of thing. I think it should have been more devastating to Thanos, and then I would have had like more of an effect. Like you'd have been, oh fuck, holy shit.
Yeah, like that hurt. Like, that hurt. Yeah. Instead of just like eating it. Funny enough, if you want to thank anything and anyone for Iron Man, you need to thank the original Daredevil movie. Yeah, that's where Jon Favreau actually spoke to Marvel and said, yo, you guys are serious about all this Marvel stuff? I got a premise for Iron Man if you guys are trying to hear it. And boom.
And then we have to thank Blade.
And then Blade.
Oh, yeah.
Blade
Blade
saved
was
him
awesome,
financially.
Because Blade made Blade made the money. Blade kept the lights on. Yeah,
absolutely.
And
yeah, wasn't it like the first one that was real serious too?
Yeah,
it
Like,
was.
he took the character seriously, and it's R-rated. So it's like it's a superhero. I think because most average people on the movie, they have no idea that it's a superhero thing. It's
Yeah.
just this action horror kind of thing.
Yeah, because
And then they
remember
came out with
they
3.
said New Line Cinema, and then Marvel was really small on the bottom of like the box of the VCR box. Remember that kid's VCR box? It looked like a little thing. You see Marvel. I was like, wait, Blaze from Marvel? Then I looked it up and I go, he looks nothing like this guy from the 70s in the shades.
Yeah.
They fixed him up real nice.
Oh yeah, for the better.
Yeah, especially if you look at the Marvel movies before, like the Captain America movies in the 70s.
Oh god.
You enjoy the Captain America with the rubber ears?
Yeah. But when I was a kid, I thought that was awesome.
Of course.
Just seeing him in live action and him throwing the shield and all that, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. But then, of course, like a little bit later, you're like, oh god, this is horrible.
It's funny. It was me watching Blade, then watching that and going, holy shit.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
I mean, even Lou Ferrigno's Hulk. That shit was incredible. My dad and I used to just sit and my dad was a huge fan of Lou Ferrigno, but like more the bodybuilding stuff. My dad was really into like bodybuilding, but we used to sit down and watch Hulk all the time. And
yeah,
you go back and look at that Hulk show, and it's like, wow, it's really bad. But at the time,
I never felt more sorry for somebody at the end of every Hulk episode.
Oh yeah,
he's always, and then that theme song plays at the end. You're like, I hope he finds a ride.
Get a bicycle, man. Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
How'd you guys feel about that Fantastic Four movie from the 80s?
From the 1990s?
Yeah, that whatever that was from
Which
the other
one?
universe.
My God.
The one they didn't release.
Roger Corman one?
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty horrific.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's like beautifully horrific, man. That's kind of why I like Cobra Kai, man, because it's like it has that cheesy 80s like drip all over it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just in a fun way that we see it now in like 2021. When like,
I would have definitely went to school a lot more if my school was like the one in Cobra Kai. You just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then spinal injuries occur.
Yeah.
You know what's fun? You know what's one movie that was like a scene away from being like a 70s porn? That's the Doctor Strange movie. Have you guys ever seen it? It was made in the 70s. It is absolutely horrific. But it's a step away from a 70s porn. Like
there was a lot of shit back then.
It takes a left on Albuquerque. Everything about it leads to that.
Damn.
And in that one, he's not even a surgeon. He's a psychiatrist. I was like, what?
Surgeons weren't as sexy as they are now.
That's true.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're driving a Lamborghini Diablo to wreck your hands.
Yeah.
Mike, did you take a look at the What If stuff that they did?
No, I haven't seen anything. Like the last thing that I saw was the WandaVision. I don't know. We just had like the Disney Plus, like a short trial thing.
Like a trial?
So we watched WandaVision and first or second season of Mandalorian. That's it. I haven't seen any of the newer stuff yet. I've heard all kinds of stuff. Some people love like Loki. Some people hate Loki. Oh, this kind of stuff, whatever. So I don't know. I have like a hard time, like think I'm gonna pay for this streaming service, this streaming service, this streaming service.
Fair. That's fair.
That's fair. It's like, come on, man, get real.
It's just cable. It's just cable. When you
pretty much
you have 5-6 different streaming services, all cable, no pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed WandaVision, but like a lot of the things nowadays is kind of like really weird. Like the Snake Eyes movie came out.
I was gonna ask you about that.
I couldn't finish that shit.
Yeah, it's like I don't understand this idea of like, let's take this character concept and make it today, but let's change everything that made it popular in the beginning. Why would you do that? that doesn't even make any sort of logic at all.
I don't even remember.
It's like this character is popular and it's famous and it's well liked because of all these elements. But if you take those elements and change them, why would anybody like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, it's like
I can't even remember it that much. I remember watching it and just not finishing. I was like here, just sitting, watching on the computer. I don't. To be fair, I watched 2 movies that day. I watched Venom 2, and then I went back and I said, you know what? Let me watch Snake Eyes. I had completely skipped out on it. It's funny because Black Widow was the G.I. Joe movie that we wanted. Didn't really
Pretty much
work out that way, but that was it. That was the G.I. Joe movie that you should really
Actually,
watch.
I once he started talking, I was like, I don't want to see this. The Snake Eyes I know and love doesn't talk. I'm sorry.
yeah.
You guys
Seriously.
picked. You guys might have picked the worst character to have his own movie.
And I mean, you got to make someone talk, but like you can do like a Tom Hardy Mad Max thing. I think he had like 5 lines that entire movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
And one of my favorite ones, like that's bait. That's
Yeah,
it.
he
That
goes
was a lot. Yo, he hadn't said anything for like the last 5 minutes and like another 10 minutes after that. It's like all he said. The movie's incredible. I fucking love that flick.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's funny because what you would have to do is he has his throat slit or whatever, right? And that's in the very beginning of the movie because he's an orphan. He gets sent there. Then after that, he can I mean, in a lot of places, in a lot of TV shows and movies, you have people that do sign language. Snake Eyes can't do that. He can't.
And sign language is all the
sign language to people.
and sign language.
He's
Everybody's
done that in one of
using
the
sign language.
cartoons.
Yeah, one of the
Or one
in
of
the
the-
in
or
the,
one of
the
the
one where
comics.
there's the 18, which I absolutely love, and they cut it short. Renegades. He does the whole.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, he doesn't speak.
That would actually been perfect.
Yeah,
The other thing I was thinking is like because his face is supposed to be fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
and I think obviously one of the things you have to deal with is actors, want to show their pretty faces all the time, so
Of
they
course.
don't want that. But in the comic book, a lot of times he wore like a latex fake face over himself.
Mhm.
So they could have just done that in the movie, said like, the actor's face was the fake latex thing, and you could have just had one scene where he took it off and it showed like his fucked up face, and then the rest of it could have been whatever, and then you could still have maintained, some sort of semblance of what that character originally was.
it would have been like Darkman. What Darkman
Yeah.
did. He had a little temporary face that like boils over after a certain time.
It
Yeah.
like melts or something. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
No, it's
But
like
yeah,
no. These people like to purposely mess things up. I keep going back to the fiasco with the Sonic movies. Like they had this like humanoid Sonic that they wanted to portray in the Sonic movie, and the internet lost it. Like, no, you're not doing this. And like that was like the first time we've seen the internet like really bully like a big property and a big name like that to getting what they wanted. They redid Sonic, and now we have Sonic 2, which looks all types of fun. I mean, I get it, it's a lot more childlike because the MCU is childlike, let's be honest, but
Yeah.
like this is more childlike. But like now we have Knuckles, we have Tails. If that humanoid Sonic would have came out, there would have been a lot of people with no jobs no more. Like it was
Yeah.
incredible. That was wow. It's like they purposely like to do it. And it's like I look at both of those Sonics, look at the chat panel. I want you to just I've done this many times, at least 10 different times. I've put that original Sonic thing to what we ended up with. And I'm just like, why? And I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand movies and anything like that. But that shit was just weird. And then if we let's say that humanoid Sonic did make it, whatever. Then we have part 2 with that Sonic. So we're gonna get humanoid Tails. We're gonna get humanoid Knuckles. That would have been disturbing.
Mhm.
That's the porn that you were talking about right there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, and it's funny. I want to give props to Jim Carrey for coming back to the '90s. Jim Carrey, he was. And now apparently in this one, he actually looks more like Dr. Robotnik. He's bald, and that's the whole. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
he looks silly though. I'll be honest. He looks very
come on.
silly.
He
looks very silly. But then
that
again,
character looks silly in the game.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Robotnik is silly.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You know what I'm saying? But you can't. Who's better to play a silly character like that than Jim Carrey?
Absolutely.
Who?
If Robin Williams was around, that would have been that would have been a great Robotnik for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely. That's either Jim or Robin, 100%. Nobody else.
But that's kind of like the Transformers movies.
With
the Michael Bay Transformers movies.
Yeah,
like
these
he
humans
changed the
Sir,
changed like design.
I want to point you to Bumblebee, and that's all I'm saying about that. Bumblebee, that's it. Bumblebee got it right. That other, I don't know.
Yeah.
Those other ones.
Put a big screen. Put a big screen. So put a big screen. Can you focus on that screen like you do all of ours?
I mean, could.
Look at that atrocity. Why would they do that? I don't understand. Why would the suits come in and just be like, yeah, we want Sonic like that?
Let's remember, we spoke about this before. The suits wanted to make Blade white.
They did want to make Blade
Remember
white.
that?
They did?
Yeah. I don't know if you knew that, Mike. They wanted to make Blade white. And the director was like, no, that's not the point.
Yeah.
Have you picked up the comic? I'm showing you, look at the comic book. He's
black. I said it. I'm okay. I've said it before. I'm okay with racial swapping. I'm all right. But some people you can't do that to. Look at that. Look at that Sonic. What we got was on the left. And then that humanoid, I don't understand that freaky thing. It's so weird.
I guess they were going for an actual hedgehog. The
humanoid. No, it was a human. They wanted a humanoid. And it's like, no.
I can understand if they didn't do a CGI and that was a child in the suit. You know what I'm saying? But that's completely CGI. There's no excuse for this shit.
And you know
what's been like Mac and Me.
Mac and Me.
Mac and Me.
So it's funny because that image that you had there, they actually did touch it up once already to make it look a little better. And then they were like, no, give us Sonic. And people were just sending pictures, and all of these internet dudes that have talent were like, no, this is how you make them look. Look, I'm giving you the design right here. I don't want you to pay me any money for this. Just take it. Like, do this. And yeah, they legit bullied an entire studio.
Yeah, Cap goes, it's misguided people that are our age that have nothing to say and no original ideas that try to make shit.
They're even older than most of us too, which is the worst part. Like, it's that type of when the producer comes in and it's like, my son likes this, so we will add this. And it's like, your son's kind of a douche, bro.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no offense. Like, you like, we're not just gonna do this based on your kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that happens so much, man.
Like, when did your son become a part of my production team?
Yeah,
right.
Like, anytime soon, he go fuck off. Fuck him.
Yo, the minute people go, yo, let's make the Transformers movie, but change it up, you already failed.
Like it was like the Transformers movies were fun, and it was cool to see, some Transformers out there. But I mean, there's just way too much people. like
I couldn't even tell what their faces were. That's the big problem for me. It's like it's just a jumbled mess of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be fairly simple design, so instantly recognizable. This is their faces, whatever. But to me, they were fucking horrible designs.
Oh yeah.
Why did they need lips? Optimus at no point when I was growing up had lips,
but
he literally had like
the mask,
literally a ninja mask.
Yeah.
And then when he fights, he puts it on. And I go, why does Optimus have lips? This is weird.
But
the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
The best thing they did was bring in Megan Fox, because you can't make a Transformer movie without a hot chick in it.
Yeah, like what?
All the robots need somebody to look at.
You know what's funny? That's the credit I give to Winter Soldier. There was no love story. There was a friendship, but there was no love story. Yeah. Like they didn't need to boggle the thing. I guess if you between Cap and Bucky, and then
if you ask the right people,
Yeah.
If you ask the right people, the love story was Bucky and Cap.
Yeah.
If you ask the
And
right
then-
people, if you ask
And
the,
then Sam coming in and cheating and them cheating
That-
with that. Yeah. But still, there was no, oh my God, I have to rescue the world. I have to rescue them because of her. No. No, this is wrong. Cap
Yeah.
goes, this is wrong. And I
No
need to
Lois
stop this
Lane
'cause it's
syndrome.
wrong.
Yeah, we don't need no Lois Lanes up in here.
no Lois
feel
Lane
me?
syndrome.
That's
No
right.
MJ syndrome.
Yeah.
Although MJ was pretty cool
I
in
mean,
the last Spider-Man.
No
That's the question,
Tobey
like,
Maguire,
Like
MJ.
in movies, in your movies that you watch, do you need a love interest or you're like, it doesn't matter to you? Because I know some people it's essential, especially for like action and sci-fi movies.
So they now that like these guys can talk about, you know, their role in Spider-Man and all of that. You know, Toby's been out there doing interviews. Andrew's been out there doing interviews. So they keep asking them, like they keep asking Andrew, like, yo, would you come back to be Spider-Man? He was like, you know, if the script is right and I like it, yeah, I would. And they started they explain the screenwriters explained the wish. And we were right. There is physical evidence has been wiped out. So Spider-Man, Peter Parker, no longer has records in that school, which is why he needs the GED. And they're kind of doing like the Back to the Future thing where he like gets deleted from pictures and things like that. It's funny because the MCU has been using the Back to the Future model so much, but then they shit on Back to the Future while doing it. It's pretty funny. Like you have that moment with Scott Lang. He's like, so Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit. So it's like, but they're literally taking the tropes from Back to the Future. It's pretty funny. And ironically, if you were to make if the MCU, I don't know if you guys seen that Instagram meme, if the MCU was in the 90s and who they had playing the characters,
Oh yeah. I see.
Michael J. Fox was Spider-Man, which makes sense. Like, who else would be Spider-Man in the 90s? Tobey Maguire?
supposed to be Michael J. Fox?
Yeah, it makes
Remember,
sense.
and like he said, the whole pretty facing. That's why Tom Cruise didn't do Iron Man, even though
Although there's rumors.
Like Robert Downey Jr. in the suit, like it was looking at the whole time.
There's rumors, though. There's rumors that there will be an Iron Man variant in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and it will be played by Tom Cruise. I don't know how I feel about that. We need a whole nother podcast.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
for real. Yeah. Yeah. So Cap goes, it's funny for the first Transformer movie, a guy Hasbro saw the design of the robots and said, how the fuck am I supposed to make toys out of that?
Yeah.
So
Meanwhile, there's a whole lineage of toys before. Like,
meanwhile, that's how they started. It literally went from Japan to here, and then oh my god, yeah,
it's very
that's like saying how I'm gonna make toys out of Power Rangers. You mean the Super Sentais?
Yeah.
basically.
You want to know how you make Power? But man, they make toys out of everything there.
I saw in that Netflix show the toys that made us, explaining all of Power Rangers and how this kid Nick Saban like was just in his hotel room just like watching these like this Japanese show. It's just like, yo, we could do that in America. Just put a ragtag team of kids, and that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing them. I think it was like on a Showtime. It was like some show or Night Flight or something. It was really early 80s. It was late at night, and I remember seeing this crazy Japanese dudes running around, jumping around, fighting stupid monsters and stuff. And then like whatever, 5, 6, 7 years later, here come Power Rangers.
Yeah.
I'm like, this looks familiar. I know I've seen this before.
They literally just took footage. Like most of the time when they're in the Ranger suits, like fighting monsters, that's footage from this Japanese show. And there was like this crazy loophole. There's like, bro, I'm not really showing anything, part of the show. I'm just like borrowing this footage. And this guy Nick Saban, he's greasy, kind of,
He's a dirtbag.
Yeah, shaking hands, greasing palms. He's that type of guy. So he made it work. And then they sold a shitload of toys. I'll never forget the first time I was able to actually obtain this action figure. I actually got two. I got Tommy and Jason, the ones that flip the head and it's like human,
like
and then they
morphing?
flip, and then they have the helmet on. It's like they morph,
Yeah.
bro, and like nothing else moved. They were like this. They were like this the entire time, but the head flipped. That's all I needed. That's all I needed.
I remember telling my lady this, right? This is I'm gonna show my age hard right here, right? So I remember I would never get like weapons as a kid, right? Really young. And then my grandmother was just like, God, get it for him. It's okay. So I got the He-Man sword, right?
Yeah.
First thing I do is I pop my female cousin in the head. Bam. I haven't had that sword out the box. I've had it for 2 seconds, and I'm like, man, I go, yo, I want the Thundercat sword. Sword of Omens, clearly, right?
Yeah.
Same deal, right? Out the box, and like when you hit something, it lights up. Worst thing to ever give a kid like
It
me.
incentivizes you hitting people.
Oh, yeah.
No. When they made it worse, because I'm like, all right, all of a sudden, chop the legs. I'm like, every leg I see, I'm just, and then on top of that, I've seen every ninja movie possible to this point. So I'm swinging it the way I see them swinging it. So I'm catching everybody beautifully. And it's like,
do you remember that?
That's first I never got the dragon dagger.
Yo.
Like it would have been left.
Do you remember that? There was a point where the 99-cent stores would sell all of these old school DVD, Hong Kong cinema style. So I would buy all of those. My dad worked, and my dad was huge into the Hong Kong cinema as well. And we used to sit down and watch a whole bunch of stuff. And he would bring them. It was $1 a piece. He'd just get all the new ones that were there. Come home every Friday with like 15 of these movies. I don't think I watched half of them, but we watched a lot. So, Led, do you remember when we would take the movies over to your house? We were just like drinking and, doing a bunch of stuff. We would put the volume down and just dub the movies ourselves. Yo, we used to have a ball. We never recorded anything of that.
We should have recorded it because
we were doing that shit before people were doing it,
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, I used to do that when I was a kid too.
Yeah, I remember.
I wanted to do that for the movie podcast, but we already been suspended on YouTube once.
We
yeah,
got suspended.
I remember watching Ninja's Revenge, and when I would say this in school all the time, it didn't make any sense. I'd be like, "Yo, only a ninja could kill a ninja." Kids are like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah,
you're not listening to me. Only a ninja could kill a ninja. They're like, "What?" And I'm thinking in my head, all you guys don't see these movies?
Yeah, right.
Only a ninja. I'm like. I swear to God, everybody looked at me like I lost my mind. But I'm like, you don't get it. You've never seen this movie? Ninja can kill him? No, all right, whatever. You're not cool. And then American, it just got worse for me.
Nah, I hear you. Yo, fun fact, talking about the Power Rangers, the first season had 64 episodes.
It was ridiculous.
Yes.
There was a new episode every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll never forget. I'll never forget when the O.J. Simpson trial prevented the show from airing. I got home from school like, what is this? Where is Power Rangers? Like, son, for the entire trial, if it went to 3:00, we weren't getting Power Rangers. I remember for an entire 2 weeks, I was coming home griping, like, yo, Mom, what is it? She's like, son, it's a big trial. I'm like, I don't care what this guy did. My mom's like, it's pretty messed up what he did. But allegedly.
That's the real reason why people were mad that he was innocent. You wasted all that time. I could have watched Power Rangers.
Bro, it was so frustrating. Yeah, I remember that. 64 episodes. My God. Man. And this guy, man, I can't believe his name is escaping me right now. Tommy. He's still super into it. Like, he's in Comic-Cons everywhere.
Jason David Frank, I believe.
Jason David Frank, there it is.
He done MMA fights.
Yeah, he went to MMA. He's always like, bro, there's like a video of like these kids that their car broke down in the street, and it's just JDF. Like, imagine your car breaks down in the street, and the one person that comes to help you is the Green Ranger. I'm just like,
is he in the suit?
No,
I'm pretty funny. Sure car, though.
He joked and said, yo, because someone asked that same question. He joked, like, yo, if I would have had my suit, I'd have put it on and gone and helped those guys.
He's
totally into the role. Yeah. So like a lot of the other guys, they'll do appearances and he'll call them up and whatever. But like he is totally into it. Like he wears that shit. He has it all tatted on himself. He still is madly in love with the Green Ranger and like he's all for that shit.
He understands that the reason he has a big house and all that is because he was a Power Ranger at one point.
He signed royalties.
Yeah, of course.
He signed royalties. He's smart.
Yeah.
I did enjoy him as the White Ranger, and I enjoyed the movie too. The movie was so bad, but
yeah. Yo,
the first one.
Did the Power Rangers do an episode with the Ninja Turtles? I don't remember that.
They did. There's the crossover event of the century. It was bad. It was bad.
What's funny? The Turtle show was bad.
Which
that Turtle show was atrocious.
Oh, the live action?
With the live action one that they had the girl turtle in there. I'm not gonna lie, I watch it for the memes. I love watching old ridiculous shit like that. Like I just found the original live action adaptation of The Witcher is from like 1980s. It's in
all right,
German.
Amy, have a good night.
With like, all right, peace out, y'all. Thank you for coming, Amy. Appreciate that. So it's like live adaptation 80s. It's all in German with the most horrible translation ever. There is mistakes in the subtitles. It's beautiful, bro. It's actually called, it was aired as The Hexer, not The Witcher. It's just like 2 hours long. It's on YouTube. I watched the entire thing. Magnificent.
I remember watching Ultraman. I forgot what channel it was on. It wasn't, Sci-Fi Channel wasn't a thing yet. And I was like, oh, this is dope. And then I saw Superhuman Cyber Samurai.
Oh, Superhuman Samurai Cyber.
And I was like, so, Ultraman in a computer.
Yeah.
And I remember saying that in school, and it was blasphemy. No, I was like, yeah, Ultraman in a computer.
It's legit a ripoff of Ultraman, like 100%. But that was one of the sickest intros.
Here's a fun fact: the VR Troopers thing was supposed to be a pilot for the Green Ranger to do his own thing.
So yeah, JDF was supposed to be the main dude in VR Troopers. Yeah.
And it's also another Japanese cent.
Yeah.
By the way, the 3 people in it, they had nothing to do with each other. Those were 3 separate shows that they put into one.
Holy shit.
That's why you never see those characters together when it's in Japanese version. Only when it's American.
Really?
Yep.
Yo, Cap just said they just did an episode where all of the Rangers came together, even the OGs.
Yeah, they do. They've done that multiple times. One of the best episodes that they ever did when all of the Red Rangers came out. That shit was actually pretty sick.
Where are they showing this shit?
You don't watch Fox anymore.
I have cable. I don't watch TV. I watch Netflix.
I don't know if Disney owns them or Hasbro owns them now. Somebody owns the rights to all of them, so they use it all the time. I know it's all over Netflix, by the way. I know that episode is probably somewhere on Netflix.
Don't sleep. I tell people all the time, don't sleep on the new CGI Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah,
I used to watch that show with my son, and there's actually some like pretty good stuff in there. Master Splinters, 10 out of 10, and they have like a whole 3-part episode, like a 3 episode arc where they actually go back to like, you know, the Yamato clan, the Hamato clan with him and Splinter and Shredder, like when they were like human, and the show's pretty sick.
You guys get a chance. There's a comic book with the Ghostbusters meeting the Ninja Turtles, and it's pretty dope. It's dope. Hey,
the Ninja Turtles did a lot of crossovers.
And then there's the Ninja Turtles mean the Power Rangers the right way. There's another comic for that. You know what
Batman meant the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, Batman.
Yeah. The Ninja Turtles were everywhere.
The Ninja Turtles get a Turtle Zord, I believe.
Shit.
I'm not lying. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, Donatello could do whatever the fuck, whatever he wants. He's a genius.
Spider-Man in the Sentai thing had a Zord.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike.
Stanley loved that, by the way. Stanley was like, "How this is not a big thing in the U.S."
It's true.
I'm like, Stan, you were ahead of your time. Had you been 5 years, a little more, you would have got it, bro.
Stan is a gift. Stan was a
Word.
gift.
Yo, Mike, Pro Wrestling Podcast want to ask, would you ever consider doing a Lord of the Rings type fantasy comic?
Well, I do have. I was talking about I'm gonna have a horror anthology later this year, and one of the stories in there is kind of like a Warcraft, Conan, dark fantasy
Continue.
story, and it's sort of like the main character is kind of like a Frankenstein monster mixed with all this kind of stuff, and the whole deal is like he's kind of like an old school like a knight, and there's a new sort of like dark magic coming into the world that's trying to like subjugate everything, and so he stands as sort of like an old school kind of representative against that. So that's, I guess, kind of like Lord of the Rings sort of stuff. My brother was like really into Lord of the Rings when I was a kid, but I never really got that much into it. I guess the fantasy stuff doesn't really kind of do much for me.
That's
But
fair.
I think if you, with other elements in that, like horror and a darker fantasy kind of thing, that I like that. That's pretty cool. It's
With
just
fucking
I'm a fan of
some
Army of
like
the
dark
Dead.
magic beast eating fucking hobbits. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Army of the Dead. Are you a fan of Army of the Dead?
Army of the Dead. I was never really big on zombies either. That was something that
I mean, Evil
I
Dead.
don't
Said it
Evil
wrong.
Dead. Yeah,
Evil Dead.
like all of that stuff. I don't know. I don't know why some things like don't didn't really like because I had a friend long time ago. He's talking about like Romero, all the old zombies things. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta see these are excellent. And it's like I never really just got into it. I don't know. I don't want to talk bad about it because maybe some people's feelings will be hurt.
Oh man, that's our
Well,
specialty
yeah,
over here. When
you know
Cap,
what you
when
can
Cap
do when
here-
you get your feelings hurt around here. You can go fuck yourself.
Cap couldn't wait to get on here for the Spider-Man episode to hurt some
Yes.
feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Just like I couldn't wait to get on for the Eternals episode. I was like, no.
Yeah.
It was absolutely no. No.
Wasn't a full no, but it's a big no.
Like
It
if I wanted to see the Justice League, I watched the 4-hour one they made.
It's
Yeah,
the-
it was the
yeah,
Justice League we wanted, though.
Yeah, it's the most DC Marvel movie you will ever see. But it's funny because that's what Mike was trying to get at earlier,
Yeah.
and we've said this multiple times on this podcast. It's better when you could just work with these ground level people and not have to focus on gods. And I get it, Thor's a god, but Thor's also like a dork. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like a big dork, and Superman is not, and Wonder Woman is not. Like, messing with all these gods is difficult.
Thor is meal stupid. Can we just be honest?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's not the brightest bulb in the Avengers pack.
No,
Yeah.
at
Let's
all.
be honest. Yo, he's like 1,500 years old, yet he's still like a teenager.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's more like a Viking too. He's just
that's
like
what I'm saying. Yeah.
a brute.
Yeah.
He's not like
Exactly. Like he knows straight ahead the whole way. Meanwhile, everybody like, yo, you know what we can do? We can go around. We don't need to go right at them.
Have at thee. No, we go straight through them.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me the
What
big
about-
one.
What about Alien? Anybody into that whole franchise?
I love it.
Aliens.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. I
You
absolutely.
read the recent Marvel Comics version?
I didn't get a chance to do it. No, I got to get back on there. Yeah, but I was just a huge fan of the first one, but the second one, for some reason,
Aliens
I'm a big action fan, but it gravitated me because it combined three things that I'm a fan of: the horror, not so much, but I do like it; the sci-fi and the action.
Yeah.
And then it made Sigourney Weaver so hot. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a
Yeah.
plus.
No, Ripley
But I'm
for life.
a huge Michael Bean fan, which a
Yeah.
lot of people don't say that. He was
Yeah, I am
raised
too.
He's Hicks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like he's like essentially the 80s hero that's not the hero. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like a woman always betters him,
Yeah.
but he's still cool. So yeah.
I really I liked Aliens. I was more on the Predator camp. My dad, like a lot of the stuff that I learned like that from my dad. It's funny, like I tell people all the time, you know, I watched Star Wars episode 4, 5, and 6 for the first time like 2 years ago. And everybody's like, yo, you're like a big geek, bro. I'm like, yeah, I just kind of miss some of that stuff. Like my dad was not into the Star Wars or Star Trek. My dad was like a Schwarzenegger, Stallone. Like that was my dad. My dad's like, yo, come look at fucking Stallone, you know, just empty out rounds for absolutely no reason. That was him. But he did introduce me to Alien too. Alien was great. Alien Isolation, the video games, is pretty intense. So
Yeah.
you're in a space station.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even see the alien for like the first 4 hours. You're in this like space station, and you know there's like bots, like like cyborg people walking around like doing work around the space station. You can avoid them, but the point is that the alien is like following you. And and as far as artificial intelligence goes in a video game, this is probably the smartest creature I've ever seen in a video game. One of the craziest video game moments happened to me playing this game. So Alien is like, it's a lot of stealth involved. So I'm hiding. I kind of peeked out a little too much. Alien sees me. I'm booking it. You get a flamethrower later on, which kind of makes you a little OP, but whatever. So Alien sees me. I'm booking it. I'm getting away from him. I think he has like stuck on something. So I'm gaining ground. So then I see a door. I'm like, I'm going into this door. I'm making a move. Bam! I go into the door. So I go in and immediately turn around looking at the door. And I'm kind of like backing up. And I'm backing up. Just looking at the door, seeing, I'm like, okay, no alien. I turn around, alien, right behind me. I was like, what? Like, where did you even come from? Yo, Alien Isolation is one of the scariest video games you ever play in your life. It's not like, it's a lot of jump scares, but it's like you start seeing shit. It's like, is that the alien over there? It's like, no, it's not. Like, you're bugging, but it's a cool game. You can find that shit for like $10 right now. It's a really fun game.
Yeah, I got it on the Xbox. It got a little too frustrating for me.
You need patience.
There was one point where like you have to punch a bunch of levers to go through.
Puzzles. The puzzles were weird.
And then it's like I kept dying. I swear to God, like 50 times, and I couldn't get through it. And I was like, "Fuck this shit."
And like the tracker they give you is not too effective at points. Yeah. It's a frustrating game, but like, man, it really like messed with me. Like hiding under the table, yo, and this motherfucker jumps on the table. Yeah. And then at first, I didn't know that this was a thing he can do. So I run into a room. I'm running away under a table. So he's coming in, and I think I was like looking at my phone. I'm like, I'm under the table, just gonna wait until this guy goes. Oh, no. He literally comes up, he's walking, he just goes, looks under. I said, what the fuck? It's a really smart, the alien. He's super smart in that shit. Yeah. But yeah, I was always more, action, Predator is my guy.
Yeah, Cap says Predator all day.
Yeah, Predator, yeah. I like it's like there's like Predator I talk to people always tell me like, why do you like Predator so much? It's just like a stupid movie about an alien. I'm like, no, you're missing the underlying tones. That movie is about respect. That's what that movie's about. Like the Predator, he's a hunt. Like he hunts. It's game for him. Yeah. If you are not armed, he's not gonna touch you. That's such an important scene in that movie when Arnold tells the girl, it's like, no, don't grab the gun. That's why he didn't kill you. And at the end of it, my favorite part is when, they're like squared up face to face and the Predator sees, he's looking at Arnold and he's like, yo, there's something about you, man. I don't know what it is, but you got my attention. And more importantly, you got my respect. I'm going to take all this shit off and we're going to duke it out mano a mano. Yep. Like that was so dope. And it's like Arnold, like his job is to finish the mission. He also respects, his team, his people, what he was sent out there to do. It's all about respect. Like anybody in that situation would just cover themselves in mud and get the hell out of there. No, we have possibly one of my favorite scenes of all time, completely useless, could have been cut. But when he he has all the traps set, he's on top of a tree for no reason, because it's like, you're wasting time to get down or whatever, like, and you're wasting time to get up there. But he lights up the thing and he just holds up a fire and just war cries. Just, I post that scene on my Instagram at least once every 6 months for whatever, whether it's I'm going to work or fantasy football. Like, I thought that there's a lot of respect in that movie, and even the respect between comrades.
Dylan, you
Billy,
son
you ain't
of a
afraid
bitch.
of no man. Like, you ain't afraid of no man. And he was like,
I
don't know what's out there, but it ain't no man. Like, the movie's beautiful.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah, that movie's incredible.
Oh, painless.
Oh yeah,
the movie's so good.
It's in the trees, man.
Just the way it starts.
Fairline and Alien, just get away from her, you bitch. I'm like, son, you call another woman a bitch, it's gonna be a fight, son.
Oh yeah.
Now that Alien versus Predator movie, we don't talk about that.
Oh no, that's disrespectful.
When she grabs his head as a shield and he marks her like, yo, you're down with the team now.
Yeah, that was a bunch of Lois Lane in there.
I would prefer Predator 2.
Although Predators with this guy, what's his name?
Adrian Brody.
With Adrian Brody, Predators, not the best movie, but that samurai predator that they're all in the fucking field and he just has his freaking sword. I was like, what is happening? That was a big moment in the theater for me. Because, again, kind of like you, Mike, weeb over here, weeb life, just enthralled with, the culture, more Japan than China, of course. Yeah. But just unnecessarily buying too much ramen and, that for real, just dead ass. So when I saw that scene and I spoke about it the other day, probably my favorite anime of all time, Ninja Scroll, that fight scene with the blind samurai through the bamboo fields, I get that trope in Japanese cinema and media, that trope is like overdone, but dude, running through a bamboo field, get out of here. Get out of here.
We're gonna have to take you to Japan to do that.
I'm working on Japan, bro. I just gotta get in one of the ships, bro. I could go with my job, but it's hard to get these Japan voyages. So I get space to go in them, but I'll be out there soon. I'm waiting for Nintendo Land, and I'm gonna get on a cruise with my job, all paid, and they give us a free one every 6 months. So I'm gonna wait until Nintendo Land. I have the thing. I'm gonna do 10 days round trip Japan, and I'm gonna stay 4 days after in Tokyo so I could go to Nintendo Land. That's the plan. I'm trying to do that either 22 or 23. That's the plan.
Yo, Polar Nights, is that the only comment you ever made, bro? He goes, I'm loving this podcast. It's every stage of beard growth. You said that the last 3 times he was on here. I appreciate it, bro. My beard got a little bit, thicker. I don't know if that, floats your boat or anything. I'll put that on my OnlyFans.
Well, we appreciate you coming. We appreciate you watching. This was a very fun podcast.
This was a good one,
for real.
It's great to see something that we're all fans of, to see someone that's doing it from the ground up.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Dude, you write comims. We have a comic book podcast, and you're writing comics. That's insane. I don't know anyone who's ever attempted, and even had any type of success at all, in anything like this, for you to do it and been around so many people and done so many things, and it's a pleasure, bro. You ever want to come back and just shoot the shit?
Absolutely,
I know you got comics to write, though. I know you got shit to write. I know you got kids to take care of. I get it. I have a child myself. I get it. But man, it's super cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I really appreciate you guys having me. I really enjoyed it too. And it's, I love talking about stuff like this too. And it's I think obviously we got a lot of stuff in common.
Sure.
Grew up liking a lot of the same things, and I would love to come and just talk about anything. It's cool with me.
Oh yeah, we got to have you on when Cap's here, because Cap is
absolutely.
he's the guru in this. He knows some
For
stuff
sure.
about some stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you read the comic. I've always wanted to not to remake or reboot, but get a different version or different angle of the Running Man, because I've always loved the fact that that's where we're headed right now at this point.
Pretty
I
much.
mean,
It's not that far from being real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see the Running Man from the Stalker's angle. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, yeah.
what led each one of them to that point. You know what I mean? I've always wanted to see the other side of that.
Well, if you do it now, you can actually have the vaccinated and the unvaccinated.
basically.
You know?
No, seriously.
If you're unvaccinated, you clearly have to be on the Running Man show
Yeah, you're the runner.
to live. You're a runner. You know what I'm saying? And then we got the stalkers. They're all
Yeah.
vaccinated fully. And
Yeah.
boosters. All
we
97.
could consider Running Man like cyberpunk-esque, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it is.
You
Yeah.
can. I think you can.
Anything you put cyberpunk, that setting in my face. Yo, Blade Runner 2049.
It's funny. It did exactly what the first Blade Runner did.
That shit was
the exact same thing
great.
happened.
I
The same thing
love that
happened.
movie.
Oh no, it's
His-
beautiful. It's
His
awesome.
apartment was like incredible. Like I would just live in that apartment. Like yeah, it looked horrible, but like a lot of shit just looks not great
Yeah.
in there.
The
Yeah,
only
the
thing
the
that-
talking chick was a little weird, but I mean that's where we're going. I mean, we got Siri.
This
You
is
know,
true.
I think that 2049 was missing was a good character like Rutger Hauer with that antagonist the whole time, because the girl was okay, but I was like, I wasn't as scared of her as I was of Rutger Hauer. I really was not at all. I was like, Rutger Hauer, he killed me.
You put
Yeah.
nah,
Rest his
that's
soul, but he
that's
would
a big
definitely kill me.
bias. That's a big bias that I have. Like anything cyberpunk, bro. Like
Yeah.
the although the release was terrible, the cyberpunk video game that just came out based on the the cyberpunk 2020 tabletop game. Again, it was a horrible launch and there was tons of problems.
Yep.
But man, I'm still play that game. I just love that whole thing of like, this future where the technology like fucks us over. I don't know. I think it's very interesting. Ready Player, we're getting there. Ready Player One is gonna be a thing in like 50 years.
Oh,
The
yeah.
metaverse is real. I'm about to buy a VR system just so I can hit the metaverse running. I'm gonna be in there fucking around. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm there.
Yo,
I'm a bigger fan of the Escape from New York post-apocalypse.
Okay,
Ah.
yeah.
First time I saw that, I was like, Jack Burton with an eye patch, because I saw the thing the other way. I saw Big Trouble in Little China first, and then I saw Escape from New York, and I was like, huh.
That half court heave.
Oh, that's part two. That's part two.
Yeah,
That's Escape from LA.
LA.
But
Yeah,
from New York it had me dying because I was like, New York's a prison. Never saw it that way. Never saw it that way.
I mean,
Good
if you've been to the
government.
Bronx,
But the thing is, you
Yeah.
see that in order to live, you got to think about this. It's the other way around. In order to live, you got to get to the Bronx now. The Bronx is in jail. It's only Manhattan as jail. And
see,
people speak the other way around. You know what I'm saying? So it's always fun when you
the
see
world
that.
has to be pretty messed up when the Bronx is the safe haven.
this is true, and we're heading there. We're heading there.
Like, yo, go get safety in the Bronx. Like, what? Okay.
As best
What?
you can.
The prison is Manhattan. Okay. Something's wrong here in the world. Yeah. No, but that's definitely and it's funny. I was talking to my cousin about it, how Big Trouble in Little China, every 80s ninja movie, and Van Damme inspired Mortal Kombat. I
Yep.
was like,
Oh, for
clear as
sure.
day. Lo Pan is not Shang Tsung, you're blind.
Yeah.
Yo,
Don't see that?
speaking of that, I say this so much that CGI Ninja Turtles show on Nickelodeon, there's a whole episode dedicated to Big Trouble in Little China. They have the three of the turtles get possessed by Lo Pan. He comes out of a knife. It's Lo Pan, the same dude, does the same thing, the voice, same guy. And three of the turtles, they end up with the straw hats and they have all the powers.
Yep.
Like the dudes, it's incredible. And Michelangelo is who like snaps them out, or is it Leo? I don't know. But it's a whole movie dedicated on Lopan. They have one episode where it's all drawn in the original 1980 style. Like they understand that people hate these remakes. And let's be honest, Ninja Turtles has had a lot of failed rebooted cartoons. It's a few of them. I get it. And they understand this, so they respect the source material so much. There are a couple changes. There are, but like, like they're younger. April and Casey Jones, they're like high school.
Yeah.
And April has powers. We have seen iterations of April with powers, but like they went with that here. Yeah.
And he says Booyakasha instead of for Cowabunga.
But that's licensing stuff.
No, I hear you, but I mean, I kind of like that better than Cowabunga.
So have you watched the show? Like, bro, that show's like, bro, I'm a huge lo-fi hip hop fan.
Have you seen the new season that came out like last year, 2 years ago?
No, I stopped watching with my son.
So they have a new season, but every episode is a different take on them. So there's actually a Mad Max version of Ralph in the shit. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like
like Last Ronin.
Yeah.
So I was going to say The Last Ronin is a great take on that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's dope because each episode is different.
One of my favorite episodes in that shit. I was watching it with my son, right? So my son, this is when I was like, okay, this show's serious, because I would watch. My son was really young, so like he was at that age where I can leave him alone, but if I did, he'd probably fucking eat something and probably choke. So I could have walked around, but I was like, let me pay attention. He started really moving around a lot, and you never know. So one episode, this is an episode that was like, okay, I need to watch this from the beginning. So the beginning of the second season. So the turtles go through it. Well, this is the beginning of the third season, I believe. I'm not sure. So the turtles go through it. Spoiler alert, Splinter dies. And they have to, well, he wasn't dead yet, but they have to run off. They have to run off to the woods. And it's funny. There's a really funny part there where Michelangelo goes, "Yo, we're turtles, man. We're not supposed to be in woods. We're supposed to be in a sewer, in tunnels in New York." And Donnie was like, "You're wrong, but apropos, like, yeah, we got to get out of here." So Leonardo had a real bad concussion, and he was in a coma for a little while, kind of like Ralph in part one of the movies. So Leo comes out of nowhere, and he's like, "Yo, we are too involved with technology. Like, we forgot how to be ninjas." So they do a fucking vision quest, and they go into the woods with just like using themselves, and they relearn how to be ninjas, bro. And at the end of this like vision quest, they come out, and there's like Japanese banners that they have on them. They made these like makeshift weapons out there, bro. I understand people's weird nostalgia with the turtles, and I understand that some of these shows were not great, but this one is good.
Yeah.
I'm a big lo-fi hip hop fan, and like while they're like jumping through the rooftops, you just hear some dope lo-fi playing. It's a decent show. Check it out, man. It's fun as hell, and they understand that there's a whole bunch of baggage, so they do a lot of cool shit like that. The Big Trouble in Little China episode is 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's really good. Check it out. Even without the kids, check it out. I will go back and see that shit though. Are you talking about the one that like their eyeballs are like white? It's CGI. Is that the one you're talking about?
The eyes, they're whited out like Batman.
Yeah, so like in this one, because there was a cartoon that the turtles did that their eyes were always white, which is horrible. This time they have pupils, but like when it's game time, when it's like get into it, it's like white.
Yeah, there's like 4 seasons of them, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Nickelodeon.
The latest one, Nickelodeon. It's CGI though. It's not drawn.
No. Yeah.
There's one episode where
it's like the same thing as the movie they did, the TMNT,
which was incredible. That movie was dope. TMNT was legit.
Yeah.
So there's one episode where Shredder's daughter, and they take some liberties with her too. she has like these snake powers or whatever. So she poisons the team. Only Leo is left up, and Leo kind of is poisoning himself. And Splinter had taught him some like Naruto shit to like heal themselves. And there's a part where they're both like Splinter is using he's in the hideout and he's using the thing on April. She got bit too. And then Leo is using it on himself. So there's like side by side just doing it and saying the chants. Yo, that is like a Mike moment when Mjolnir came to Cap. I got up, I said, yes, this is what I'm talking about, because in the original Ninja Turtles cartoon, they do focus on a lot of Splinter's Japanese heritage. Here, he is full on 100% Japanese, super like smart, intelligent, always with motivational quotes. And he makes sure that these kids, these ninja boys, understand their Japanese culture from Splinter. They respect every aspect of that show. It's really well made, man.
And there's also an episode where they're in another dimension and they get caught, and Michelangelo has to save them, and he has to overcome his fear.
That like pink dimension that everything's like blowing up. Those like
he had to overcome his fear of being like inadequate, and he realized that his wonkiness is actually plays well to the dimension he's in, and he actually becomes one of the best ones out of all of them
because he's so unorthodox that they can't get a read on him. So he actually ends up being like super smart, and all of the other turtles is like, yo, what the fuck is happening? Is the Mikey smart? Like, what's going on? And he's like super into it. Yo, it's a good show, man.
It's that Deadpool effect. It's like,
it's a good show. So I'm glad that you watched that show.
Yeah.
So that show is really funny, man. I gotta go back. I need to see that Mad Max episode. So I'm a huge, like, I've been a Mad Max fan for a little while, but then when Tom Hardy did this shit in 2015, apparently Furiosa was gonna get like a spin-off, which
she is.
Is that still happening?
It's still happening. Yeah.
I need to see that.
They casted the girl and everything.
I need to see that.
Yeah. I was like, all right, so no Mad Max.
Sorry for the random Ninja Turtle rant. I be telling these guys all the time. These guys are Ed, Krills, Fern. They're sick of hearing me talk about this show, man. It's a good show, bro. It's a good show.
They don't know what they're missing. And the crazy shit is I watched that show at work, so Krills probably saw a couple of minutes of a couple of episodes. You know what I'm saying?
It's the nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
I understand. But like, that's when nostalgia can be toxic, when you are so into it that you don't even want to try something else.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, like, yo, there's a legit episode drawn in the 80s style. It's funny too, because they make the funniest joke ever, because they're walking around in their in the trench coats and they're like, this works? Like, they're gonna know we're turtles. It's so funny.
In that new season, they actually did a crossover with the old Ninja Turtles and the new ones. And they made mentions to the old ones, like, we're not allowed to hit people. So they didn't know, they actually didn't know karate in this episode. And they're like, no, bro, you're not tied by the rules from the people who draw you. And they actually learn that the shit that they practice, they can actually hit people. So they beat the shit out of some of these dudes. It's actually pretty dope.
Back then it was just throwing.
Yeah.
And like, they'll spin them on their legs and like throw them. That's the same thing that happened with the Spider-Man cartoon. He wasn't allowed to punch. So I remember when, now I like Spider-Man a lot more. And, contrary to what Mike said, yes, like I am Batman and I am Spider-Man. As ridiculous as Batman is. It's funny because we're all, for the most part, Batman fans here, Mike, but we like to trash on Batman whenever we get the opportunity.
Yeah, we did a whole episode explaining how Batman will be worse for Harley Quinn than the Joker.
Yo, it's a really funny episode. A lot of people like that episode. They were like, yo, that's actually a good point. So I remember thinking to myself, like, before I was a real Spider-Man fan, I used to be like, yo, man, Spider-Man is kind of like lame. Like, he always has to like outsmart people. He doesn't really like use brute force. He doesn't hit anybody. He doesn't. And then years later, like about 2 years ago, I see that Marvel fact. So he wasn't allowed, like he wasn't allowed to be animated punching people. He can only kick and throw. So it's like, oh, that makes sense. Which was funny because when he gets the symbiote in that cartoon, he's a menace.
Yeah.
He is like slamming shit on people. He's like killing people. Like that's what it looks like. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not doing it, but let's get the symbiote in a new Spider-Man movie. Would you prefer to see? Would you prefer to see Tom Holland with the symbiote or Andrew Garfield with the symbiote? I think it's easy.
So I would say Tom Holland. Just me.
I want to see Garfield.
I want to see Garfield because he said he's already in a dark place.
Yeah.
I hear you. But give us our Spider-Man. Like you already said, Tom Holland is our Spider-Man and there's other dimensions with Spider-Man. Stop giving me these what if Spider-Mans, unless this is a real what if and you're going to have Carnage, a real Carnage, fight Venom, and then the symbiote wars come out. Go all out with it. Or else leave me the fuck alone and just give Tom Holland the black suit.
I don't know. I'll be okay with any one of them. I'll be okay with any one of them. I do want to see Andrew. I mean, he said he's been dark. That's why I kind of want to see that. And we said it, that's another thing. A lot of people are starting to show massive amounts of love to Andrew Garfield. And we've been saying it the whole time. His rendition of Spider-Man is perfect. Quippy, funny. We say it all the time. His Spider-Man was a little cool. It was a little too hipster. We say it all the time.
His Peter Parker?
His Peter Parker, sorry. But I would like to see his Spider-Man in the symbiote, see how dark he can really get. Which reminds me, I sent this to Krills because me and Krills been talking a lot of Spider-Man stuff lately. So there's a scene in Spider-Man Far From Home that was cut out of the final product. This is a scene where Tom Holland is in the restaurant. He's fighting all of those thugs. You guys probably seen it. He has the Iron Spider suit on. They shoot him a few times and he's like, bah, 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 and then he like falls over. Then he gets up. He's like, don't worry, it's bulletproof. Then he keeps fighting. Then he's in a restaurant. He picks up a salt shaker. He goes, fresh ground pepper? Anyone? And he's like, psh, psh, psh. Like that was the most Spider-Man. Those 5 seconds was the most Spider-Man I've seen Tom Holland. And they cut it out of the movie.
I don't know. There's something about Tom Holland that doesn't strike me with the symbiote. I don't know what it is. Something about him that I'm like.
You can say the same thing about Toby, and he put it on. You can say the same thing.
But wait.
But look what happened when he put it on.
That's true. Yeah. But hold up. Spoiler alert. When my man said, I'm May's dad, I'm going to kill this motherfucker, he got dark.
He got dark there, yeah.
You know what's funny? I didn't buy it.
When he said it, I was like, because technically he's a 15-year-old kid talking about he's gonna kill a grown man.
But what I'm saying is
he tried.
Yeah,
he tried.
Yo, he looked brolic too. Like he
Toby was like, yo, I'm a little older than you, bro. You're pretty strong too. So like, yeah, he tried. He tried.
And I could be wrong. Give it to him, but I'm not buying it. I don't know. It's just me. This is me being Cap.
No, listen, I get it.
Not seen it.
But my thing is, if you're gonna do Andrew Garfield Spider-Man again, be a grizzly. Like if you're gonna be a bear, be a grizzly. Go all out. Fuck us like this is the last time you're ever gonna see us, type shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, this was what's gonna happen.
I'm trying to get these analogies.
Like you're going to war. And
Yeah.
Go listen.
Give me everything.
I think what's gonna happen, like we're gonna have multiple Spider-Man doing multiple things. And if I can be honest, I mean, we did see the symbiote. The symbiote's in the MCU now. He left a little drop in the Mexican restaurant bar. So the symbiote is in the MCU now. So what I think is gonna happen, I think Andrew gets sent back, but he gets sent back to a different time where when Gwen is alive and where Gwen is Spider-Gwen. I think he's going to get sent back to that. So I think he's going to do some Spider-Gwen stuff over here and be in that universe, which I think it's... Emma Stone has actually said, like, yo, I'm down to come back for Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man, for Spider-Gwen. And then I think they'll have Tom Holland gallivanting over here in the MCU, and he might get the symbiote. I don't think Toby's gonna come back though. I don't know.
Nah. What do you think, Mike?
I I mean, I thought like this last one with a little bit of the Spider-Verse thing, the different spiders, the different universes is fine, but I think too much of it would get old.
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in seeing like 5,000 different versions of Spider-Man.
So no Clone Wars for
Uh,
you.
no, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, the little bit of it, it was cool seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in this movie, and you got a little bit of it. I thought that was cool. But I mean, me personally, I'm not into the whole 500 different versions of Spider-Man. It's like, I got one Spider-Man. That's it. That's all I really care about. And they're
Did you
doing
watch?
this with a lot of the
Did,
characters.
Yeah.
did you watch Into the Spider Verse, the animated one?
Yeah, I saw it. I thought it was all right. But I still, the thing that bothers me about it is the whole idea. They say like, anyone can be Spider-Man, but to me that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't really ring true. I think that's how to say it. It's like, you just put a costume on a person and say that, okay, now that person's that hero. Like you say, Captain America. Well, they say like it's not that Captain America. It's not that Steve Rogers is Captain America. It's that Captain America is Steve Rogers, because
Yeah.
I
Captain
hear you.
America, all of the elements, all of the history and everything about Steve Rogers is what makes Captain America who he is.
Mhm.
And so all of these elements, like how he grew up, all the different things that he went through, all that stuff, that's what makes the Captain America who he is. And I think it's the same with any character like Batman or Spider-Man, whatever. I mean, just because someone else could put on the suit and have like similar powers, it's like, okay, fine, whatever. But I mean, what made Spider-Man the Spider-Man popular and made so many people like him is not just the powers in the costume. It's all of that, a part of Peter Parker, all his trials and tribulations and his
Hmm.
personality and all that. That's all part of Spider-Man. That's not just part of Peter Parker. So that's why, to me, I don't really like, just like with Wolverine, they got all these different versions of Wolverine and stuff, and it's like, I mean, a girl with the freaking thing coming out of her toes. It's like, okay, that looks fucking ridiculous. It's just,
I like
and
X
so
23. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like her. I like her.
sorry to
It
hurt your
is.
feelings.
No. Of course.
Nah,
It's
yeah.
clone, but no. I get it. I get it. I'm saying.
It
The
is.
the
It
one
is.
I'm not a fan of is his son. The
He
son,
has a
I forgot
son.
his name.
Wolverine has a son.
Oh,
Deacon,
yeah, Dakin,
Dakin,
something.
or
Yeah,
Dakin. Yeah, it's spelled Deacon, but it's a Dakin.
yeah, something like
I'm
that.
not a
Yeah,
fan of him at all. I'm like, Wolverine?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
take your sweet sour ass somewhere.
no, but I get what you're saying, Mike, because it's like when
Yeah, yeah.
we already established 10, 15 years of the MCU and now we finally got Spider-Man, and to give us 3 other different versions of him, it's like, all right, now it's convoluted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like, how
yeah.
many Batmans are we gonna watch where we gotta see his fucking parents die in that alley?
Yeah.
You know, after a while, it's like, all right, whatever. I'm
Well,
not excited for this Batman movie. I'm
I'm
gonna
just
go
letting you
watch
know.
it. I'm just
Just want you guys get ready for the fact that we're in the multiverse. We're gonna see a whole lot of different everybody's.
no.
Yo, no, all of these reshoots right now that are happening for Doctor Strange, get ready. It's Cameo Central that they're doing. What I hope doesn't happen with Multiverse of Madness is that they just try to introduce someone just to introduce them, and then we have this problem like, yo, that didn't even make sense. And it's funny because I was reading this. I read this like 3 days ago. Apparently, in the movie, they originally didn't want, or the plan wasn't that Ned opens a portal and they come through. Apparently, and this was from screenwriters and directors that they said this, they were like, they wanted they didn't say who, but they wanted a well-spoken Marvel character to come into this universe find Tom Holland and say, yo, you're in trouble right now. I'm going to get these two other guys that are basically you from another universe, and they're going to help you out. So theories have been going crazy. They're thinking it's like Professor X and, trying to introduce mutants into the MCU. And
It's Beast. It's Beast.
I mean,
Yo,
well
stop
spoken.
it. But there you
Well
go.
spoken. Yeah.
It's Beast.
No, look, a lot of people have been saying this for like a good 5-6 years now. But I think it's finally happening, y'all. We have 7 minutes left. This is the theory right here. We will see an X-Men in Multiverse of Madness.
Yo,
we're gonna see an X-Men.
Cabs called out what was it that you called out? The theory that Spider-Man might be in Hawkeye. And and then everybody else. No, but everybody else was piggybacking on that.
Yeah.
So, we got ears. There's ears listening to you, Cab. So we might get an X-Men with the reshoots.
No. We're gonna get it.
We're gonna get one. All right.
Technically, there is a few X-Men already in the MCU. I mean,
Quicksilver.
Scarlet Witch is an X-Men.
Yeah.
She is an X-Men. There's a couple more that are like whatever, but like she's an X-Men. But like we're gonna get like our first glimpse, and maybe it could just be subtle. Maybe you could just hear see some claws. You could just hear tring. We're gonna get it.
Somebody's playing the intro to the animated series in the headphones, walking down the street.
Oh my God, that'd be great. That'd be great.
It's gonna be Sunspot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right, but like Cav
it's gonna be on someone's phone. Someone's phone is gonna ring, and you just hear, and we're just gonna be like, stop. We're gonna be like, stop, and then we're gonna stay for the entire fucking movie, and then we're gonna stay for the post-credit scene, and it's gonna be a fucking trailer to Morbius. Who knows?
Word.
I'm sick of Morbius trailers. Every movie I've seen in 2021 and 2020 is a Morbius trailer, bro.
Well,
stop.
According to Cap, there's a theory out that Venom and Morbius are in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe already.
They are because of Oscorp.
No, I hear you. I get it, but stop fucking around. Stop fucking around, because that's like that is the cop out to, we can do everything that Spider-Man does here, and now we just got a guy swinging webs on the MCU. He doesn't have to face Venom. He doesn't have to face Punisher. He doesn't have to face Carnage. The fucking the Hunter doesn't have to come and get him. He could literally just be slinging dick in a blue suit.
No, but that's exactly what they're doing, though. That's exactly it.
Then that's not a Spider-Man. That's just we got a Arachnoman in this fucking.
We got Daredevil in the MCU. Let's just be happy.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and it's Charlie Cox.
True. We got 4 minutes
at a time, gentlemen. One at a time.
True. That's true. We got another 20 years of this shit. But we got 4 minutes left. Mike, let everybody know where they can find you and any upcoming projects or anything you want them to know.
So I got the website, rainyroadmedia.com. You can go there. I link a lot of stuff there, like the books on Amazon and stuff. And I have a newsletter I come out with like every couple of weeks on Substack. It's rainyroad.substack.com. You can check out stuff there. I do like all the behind the scenes stuff, the process stuff, development. I show like a lot of the sketches and things about when we're working on stuff. And I'm on Facebook, Rainy Road, on Instagram, Rainy Road _media, and just basically I would really appreciate it if people would check out the pre-launch Kickstarter page and consider clicking that notify button so we can try to help build some momentum from this thing.
Hell yeah.
Word. And I have all the links on the chat now, so people could go and hit that up. And before we head out tomorrow, we'll watch episode 3 of Boba Fett. Thursday, we're gonna talk about Battle of the Belts and everything else that happens on wrestling. That's on the show. We just we go crazy for that shit. Yeah, that's right. Mickie James is gonna be in the Royal Rumble. A TNA Women's Champion is gonna be in the WWE Royal Rumble.
She's come back?
Well, I guess it's a special one night only thing so far, but they're doing an interpromotional deal where she's gonna be in the Royal Rumble.
They might do it with the men too. They're thinking about that.
Yeah, because they released almost like 100 and something wrestlers over the last 2 years.
To do the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
They don't have enough women to do the Royal Rumble.
They didn't have enough women before they did the releases.
Yeah. They're like they're trying to pull from everywhere now. You know what's fun? Why tell anybody?
Yeah, true. Unless there's they're trying to make a bigger deal with somebody else. But Pootie's in the building. Pootie the Plastic. That's the dude we were talking about earlier. With he skyrocketed this year to 3,500 subs on YouTube. He does the music reactions, and like we'll be back next week with some hot fire. Yo, Michael, you are welcome anytime, man.
Seriously,
It's a pleasure talking to you.
man.
Thanks for coming, man.
I really enjoyed it, guys.
Yeah, we
likewise. I hope I can come on again.
Oh, definitely. We're gonna
You
definitely
got the
set
time,
that up.
hit us up, man. You not doing nothing on a Tuesday? Want to talk some podcasts or some comics? You not doing nothing on a Thursday? You want to talk some wrestling? You whatever. We got it all, bro. We do it all over here.
That's it.
All right, brother.
That's right. And on that note, it's your friendly neighborhood knuckleheads signing out. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
All right, y'all boys.
All right.
Did you press the button?
Yeah, it's going. It's just I had to turn off the system volume so that way you don't hear double of the stream and all that. But yeah.